2014 couldn't have started better for the Castleford Tigers, as 5 straight wins gave them their best ever start to a Super League season. Hoodoos broken and last-minute dramas. The Tigers were running hot and grabbing all the headlines. The streak ended, though, last time out, and now the Tigers head to London in search of their first victory in the capital since 2009.
Short ball to Oliver. Oh, that could be it for Castleford. Matt Cook's look dangerous.
It's a great run, tremendous run, and it looks like they're in. Here they are, courtesy of Hayden Brown, and it's a second try for Mariano. Marvellous take. Well, they lost at Leeds last Friday, and then they watched as Catalan Dragons and Hull KR won, so it leaves London as the only side yet to register a victory in 2014. Will this be their turn against Castleford Tigers, who lost their 100% record at Salford? It's our first ever visit to the Hive in Barnet in the First Utility Super League. Castleford's defeat at Salford means that they drop to third in the table coming into this weekend. St Helens remain the only side with a 100% record now. Leeds are also unbeaten and they are second. Widnes and Salford are the gatecrashers on the top 8 this year so far. A new owner for the Bulls, but they remain at the foot of the table because of their points deduction. London now confirmed as the only side in the competition yet to win, something that they would love to put right here. In the other matches coming up this weekend, we have 3 on Friday. Hull against Salford, the blockbuster at St Helens, where it's the battle of the top 2, and at Wigan, who entertain the Catalan Dragons. The rest all play on Sunday, and they all kick off at 3. Huddersfield against Warrington, Hull KR against Wakefield, and Widnes against the Bulls. Well, the teams have been announced here. This is the way the two sides will line up, beginning with London, and they've made a few changes in the backs after last week. Denny Solomona moves to full-back. Iles McCarney goes to his place on the wing, and you'll notice that number 11 Mike McMeekin plays in the centres. Thomas Minns has a back injury, he misses tonight's game. Farah and Drinkwater are in the halves. And the forwards, a couple of subtle changes here as well. James Greenwood comes in to the starting lineup alongside Moore and Krasnicki. Sliney, Cook, who's the captain, and Foster. And on the interchange bench for London, Televey, George Griffin, James Cunningham and James Woodburn Hall, who makes his first appearance of the campaign. Now the Castleford Tigers, in a reaction from their coach Darryl Powell to the defeat last week. Luke Dawn continues at full back, he's ex-London of course. James Clare takes the place of Richard Owen on one wing. Michael Channing, the other former Londoner in the side, is alongside Michael Shenton, the skipper, and Justin Carney on the other flank. Jamie Ellis plays at standoff today, and Liam Finn will be the halfback. And this is an unchanged pack from last week at Salford. Lynch, Clark and Hubie, Holmes, Haraki and Millington. And the substitutes for Castleford tonight, Mark Sneed, who has started all through the season but drops to the bench tonight. Nathan Massey, Mariano again, and Dan Fleming comes into the 17. The coach is Darryl Powell. So here we are at the Hive. Welcome to Barnet, and will this be London Broncos' big night? The history books certainly suggest that it might be, because they've got a pretty good record against the Castleford Tigers. And if you go back to May 2011, that was the last time that Castleford beat the London Broncos home or away. The last win away from home came even further back in 2009. So you never know, London just might get off the mark tonight, but Castleford will be hell-bent on getting back to their winning ways. Now then, John Wells played for both of the clubs with some distinction in his playing career. I wonder what his thoughts are about tonight's match. He's in the dugout at the touchscreen with Brian Carney right now.
Yes, thanks very much, Eddie. Absolutely, John would be forgiven for sitting on the fence tonight, but we'll pressurise him a little later on for an answer as to who he thinks will win tonight's game. Look, we're nearly a quarter of the way through the season. And what have you, John, made of the Broncos so far?
Well, I think the first thing to say, the qualifying statement, is there's no doubting the talent and potential of that team. These guys can play. There's no doubt about that. What is blindingly obvious, what has been for the first 6 rounds in Super League, is that this is a new team. These are guys still learning each other's names, never mind which position they play in. Everybody thinks, for example, of diffusing a high bomb as a distinct individual skill that can be learned, practiced and mastered. Same with a sidestep or a fend or...
Sometimes that can't be mastered.
with exceptions. The mechanics of group defence is both an individual skill and a group skill. It's a lot more complex in getting the mechanics of it right individually and then how that fits within a team. And it's obvious that they're not there yet. There are a few problems with that, and that's down to the time they've had together as a team.
Yeah, problems with the individuals, but problems as a collective defensively as well. And 47 points on average conceded in each game, which suggested that structurally in defence they have some issues.
Yes, certainly. And again, best illustrated with reference to their game that we showed on Sky Sports last week. It's no disgrace to lose at Headingley against the Leeds Rhinos.
I've been chatting to Darryl Powell, the coach. He, of course, is talking about the difficulty of playing on Sunday and then playing here tonight. So there's a short build-up he's had. Tuesday, he said, we just did some work on the basics. Wednesday, a little bit of contact, he said, and that's it. But he said, if we can put it together tonight, he said, I'm very confident we can win. And, of course, they want to win to bounce straight back from that last defeat. So Darryl Powell, who plays his 250th game, as it were, as a coach, not a player coach, just a coach this evening, is in charge of Castleford, hoping it's going to be a good night for him.
Thanks very much, Graham. Well, on the other side of the fence, it has, of course, been a really turbulent year, and that's an understatement for the London Broncos 2014. 16 debutants, and that's only half of the story. There have been one or two changes off the field as well. The assistant coach, new face there, a man called Joe Grimer, and he took a really big decision to come to the London Broncos on the back of a discussion with one former London star.
Jamie Soward had a big influence on the London Broncos last season, scoring 67 points in 9 appearances and helping the club avoid the wooden spoon. And he's still having an influence, even though he's back in the NRL with Penrith Panthers. Soward was one of the people Broncos' new assistant coach Joe Grimer turned to for advice when he was offered the job in London.
People would say, you know, they might have said when you told people you're coming to take on this job, you need your head examining. Did they?
Yes, they did. Yeah, a lot of them that have been in the coaching over here, and a lot of people or players that have played over here. He just said to me, you know, you need to make sure, you know, what you're doing is the right thing for you and your family. And I didn't look at it as a challenge, but an opportunity.
Is that it? I mean, it's almost, you know, it is a challenge. Okay, I'm going to make this work.
It was like Tony rang me up and spoke to me about the position, and I really was excited at what Tony had in store for the Broncos, and I really enjoyed what Tony was saying, and I understood Tony's philosophy in why he invited me over here to help him in the coaching of it, and it was a real good opportunity for me to come over here and get out of my comfort zone, out of the NRL.
After 19 years as a player and a coach in the NRL, Joe Grimer has taken on a massive challenge at the winless, struggling Broncos, but he's undaunted.
Have you ever been in a situation where your coaching side has got 16 players making their debuts in the early weeks of a season?
Absolutely not. It would be very rare for any coach in any organisation or sporting body that would have to have dealt with circumstances similar to what you said, Bill.
That's the problem. It's not as though this is pre-season. You're having to do this in the heat of battle.
Effectively, you're 100% right. We didn't have a pre-season. We don't have a pre-season. It is what it is, and we're up to, you know, round 6 and round 7. So we've only got limited time that we can do things, and we're still learning to work together as a team, as a player group, and certainly getting to understand, you know, what Tony wants moving forward.
Among all the Broncos newcomers, there are some survivors, such as team captain Matt Cook, whose London roots go back to his scholarship days at the club some 10 years ago. Despite his team's problems in 2014, Matt believes their first win can come against the Tigers.
They're going to be a big challenge, and hopefully they'll come down a bit with a few aches and pains with their short turnaround this week. You know, we're just going to make sure we give it our all and really give it to them, and, you know, we'll be going out there to try and get our 2 points. We need these 2 points on the board as soon as possible to kickstart our season, and, you know, we'll be definitely looking to do that at the Hive on Thursday.
Well, Matt Cook has certainly been one of the stars for London Broncos this season already, the skipper. And just another little bit of off-field activity announced in the past 24 hours. The chief executive, Gus Mackay, this is his last game at the Broncos. He leaves at the weekend for pastures new. Nothing sinister in this. His remit was simply to get the London Broncos up here to the Hive, get the move completed, get them playing down here in Barnet. He has done that, and he moves on with everyone's good wishes from the London Broncos club. And we all wish him well as well for what the future might hold. OK, that's London taken care of. Now then, what about the prospects for the Castleford Tigers? Desperate, as we've already said, to put last weekend's disappointment behind them. Back to the dugout and the touchscreen, and Phil is alongside Brian now.
Yes, thanks very much, Eddie. Despite that defeat last week against the Red Devils, it has been a fantastic start to the season for the Castleford Tigers. Now, they've had to cope with the departure last year of Rangi Chase, and it meant that Daryl Powell would have to make significant changes, Phil, to the way his side attacked. Now it seems to be less about one person, and there's more getting involved in still creating some magic moments.
Brian, I've been excited all week at the prospect of coming to this game because I've seen on the full-time show the quality, the speed and the skill of the Castleford tries so far this season have been fantastic. And we're going to look at a couple of examples, ones that I think hopefully will be replicated here tonight. You know, lots of teams in rugby league now attacking a similar way to this, but the speed, the skill and the precision of which Castleford execute their players are creating time and space for the wingers out wide, and we're seeing some quality tries scored by them. They're getting forwards, passing to forwards. You'll see on this one again, similar player. They find the fullback, Luke Dawn, moving at pace. They've created time and an opportunity for the winger to score. And they're great tries, which are very hard to defend and well executed so far this year.
You're absolutely right. It's a great sign when the forwards are passing, and I don't think I've seen Weller Huraki himself play as well in a long time. They certainly seem to be getting the best out of him. However, they did come unstuck last week against the Red Devils. What went wrong for them, Phil?
Well, the big question is, has the bubble burst or was it just a blip? You know, they missed more tackles, made more errors and conceded more penalties than they have in any game so far this season. But I'm sure Daryl Powell will want to put that to one side, and they're desperate to show us tonight they are a good side. Do you know their attack was still pretty good, but they just didn't have enough of the ball. I'll show you some of the tries that they scored at Salford again. They're very similar in the nature to the ones that we've just seen so far this season. Lots of players moving at pace, and they find the man. Wonderful skill there from Shenton, finding Carney, I'm sure he's going to love playing on this fast surface here today.
Justin, very proud of how he's going.
Well, he's doing well. Look, they're getting the ball out wide, which is an area maybe that London will be stretched at tonight. And they've got in Luke Dawn, a wonderful fullback who loves to have the ball in his hand with players and faces and space in front of him. He's done that particularly well so far this year.
Now, if the Castleford Tigers are going to make the playoffs for the first time since 2009, they've got a great start to their season, their best ever start to a Super League season. Have you seen enough now, Phil, to suggest that they will make those coveted playoff positions?
Well, it's pretty amazing what they've achieved, you know, in a 12-month period. This time last year, Daryl Powell was coaching in the division below this. But let's just look at how they compare after 6 rounds this year to where they were 6 rounds last year. And it's an amazing turnaround. They've almost double the amount of points they've scored on average in a game and halved the number of points they've conceded. There's no side in Super League made a gain like that. That's an enormous achievement. And again, let's have a look at some of the indications, not just points scored, but the breaks made by the side. Only Leeds so far this year have made more breaks than the Castleford Tigers. That, again, amazing stat in itself. They've made almost 300 metres a game more than they have been. And the defence might not look a lot of 1% improvement, but
what does that translate as?
Well, that's significant. I'll tell you, that puts you from a bottom side to one in the top half of the table, which I'm sure they'll want to be. But they've got a massive challenge on tonight because they're playing against a desperate team. And we all know desperate teams are capable of doing desperate things, and it's difficult because if Castleford don't start this game in control, they'll find it a difficult battle.
Quickly, a victor, and by how much?
I pumped up the Tigers, but I want a big shock. This is a Thursday night thriller. London 22, the Castleford Tigers 20.
The stats don't lie, Eddie. It's as simple as that. Back to you.
No, the stats do not lie, Brian. You're right. The man who has tipped Salford to win the grand final at Old Trafford, Phil Clark, there with the tip that London will win here tonight. Terry and Steve-O are here in the studio area with me. I know that you're thrilled to be here, looking forward to this. You've been talking about it all week. You've not slept for 2 nights, have you?
Eddie, I can't wait for this game because I'm looking at how London are going to respond from last week and what the coach said after the game. And then Castleford, the short turnaround. And I was quite impressed with London. It might be, you might scratch your head thinking, why was he impressed with London's performance when they conceded over 50 points? I just thought that they managed to get back into the game. I don't mean on the scoreboard, but actually physically. They challenged Leeds Rhinos for 20 minutes in the first half and in the second half. And there's some of those players that are playing to their potential, and whether they can play better than that, I'm not so sure. But at the end of the day, this is a big opportunity, and when the fixture list would have come out at the start of the season, they would have targeted this game for 2 points.
Well, I'm sure they will have done that at the start of the season, but Steve-O, you know, the way Castleford have started 2014, you'd have to be a brave man, and Phil obviously is a brave man, to back against the Castleford Tigers tonight.
Yeah, they'd have to be red-hot favourites in many ways, but, you know, the London Broncos, they've got to go back to basic. It's as simple as that. You look through the list of their players, they've got plenty of talent. The only problem is that the basics let them down. Against Leeds last week, all they had to do was just keep going backwards and backwards. The key to that was the kicking game from Leeds. I'm afraid London, they didn't kick at all. You know, it was very, very poor kicking. They've got to be a lot more from Drinkwater and Farah. They've got to make sure they can get themselves into a position. And if they don't apply that pressure with a good kicking game, they've got to try to turn the Tigers around. Give them the opportunity. You look through the Tigers camp and you just say to yourself, there's far too much talent there. Luke Dawn, a former player for the London side, and you've got to just say to themselves, give them space to room and room to move. They will score plenty of tries tonight. Now, I witnessed London in the first half against Warrington. Their defence was superb. Their kicking game was good. They were turning Warrington around. Okay, they fell apart. They ran out of steam in the second half. But Tony Ray was encouraged by what they had done in that first 40 minutes. They got walloped against Leeds. They know that. They know they've got to get themselves sorted out, especially their defence. But that basic principle of kicking the ball and turning the Tigers around will give them some hope. If they don't have a good kicking game, it's going to be the Tigers easy.
Terry, do you think it's a surprise that Daryl Powell has rung a few changes after last week? Because it was only the first defeat of the season. Richard Owen is out. They've got a new half-back combination.
Well, I think it's a game that you can look at playing the likes of Jamie Ellis. He's been out, he tore his pec early on in the season in training, and it's a game that you can give him, see how he goes. But I look at Castleford, and I've been ever so impressed with them. They've got unity within that squad, and that starts at the top right the way down to the bottom. The players know what they're doing, and it's led by that man, Daryl Powell. I was talking to him before, and he says that how good the camaraderie is amongst the players. They all know what they've got to do. They all know the job description, the roles and responsibilities within that side. And you can see that there's a great rapport with Castleford, and that is why they're sitting third in the competition. Look back to 2012, Eddie, and they finished 13th.
Yes, they did. They did indeed. And, well, who's going to finish 13th and who's going to finish 14th this season? Whoever does that will, I'm afraid, drop into the Championship in 2015. London are desperate. It's not going to be them, but there's a huge, huge season that lies ahead. Castleford not looking down, they're looking up. We're going to take a short break now. We'll be back with some more build-up to this match, and we will meet some of the leading personalities who will be taking part in this game tonight.
For us to show that we can challenge nearly every team in the competition, and the fans turning up to games believing that we're going to win, it's a big turnaround.
People are writing us off, and it's backs against the wall type stuff, and yeah, it can work to your advantage, I suppose.
They've got youth and energy. I think they've got some real young guys in there who's going to bring some enthusiasm, and they can be real dangerous, and they do a good game, those guys. I mean, it's so tough.
A really good example of playing well together as a team, and they all look like they enjoy each other's company, and they, you know, you're spot on. They've started really, really well.
They're going to come together at some point, and it's really important for us that we don't really give them a sniff, I suppose.
Obviously, we want to stay up. That's the main goal. We think we can, which is the most important thing, and we're confident we can. In saying that, though, as the weeks go on, we can't keep saying we're building. You know, realistically, we need wins, and we need to start putting it together.
Top 8's the main goal for us, but for us to show that we can challenge nearly every team in the competition, and the fans turning up to games believing that we're going to win, it's a big turnaround.
Justin Carney's a bit of a handful. I remember playing against him a few years ago, and you know, he's quite a strong lad.
Probably Drinkwater, then the new half-back. he's got some skills, so we'd like to keep him as quiet as good. If the halfback's having a quiet game, you know you're doing a good job.
People are writing us off, and it's backs against the wall type stuff, and that can work to your advantage, I suppose.
Obviously, we've got a lot of improvements to make from the Salford game, so I think this quick turnarounds, the boys are excited that we can get straight out on the field and set some things right.
The Castleford Tigers lost their proud 100% record at Salford on Sunday, so they will be doubly determined to extend London's 2014 Super League agony here. The Broncos, the only team in the competition to register a victory, a win and the Tigers reclaim second spot in the table going into this, the 7th weekend. Let's have a look at the teams. London first, and they have the leakiest defence and the worst attack in the first Utility Super League so far. Tony Ray has shuffled his resources for this one. Denny Solomona plays at fullback tonight. He swaps places with Ilyas Makani, who didn't do too much wrong at Leeds last week. Thomas Minns is out injured. Mike McMeekin replaces him. Up front, a couple of subtle changes too. James Greenwood, who's on loan from Wigan, gets a start, having been a substitute at Leeds last Friday. Nick Sliney, who was in the front row last Friday, he drops to the second row tonight, and he'll partner club captain Matt Cook, who's been magnificent in a losing team all year. It all means that James Woodburn Hall plays for the first time this year off the bench, and it's incredible that Ateleve is there again. He's made a miraculous recovery as he went in hospital after the Leeds game with a suspected ruptured spleen. Castleford, having surrendered that unbeaten start last weekend, ring the changes. James Clare gets his first start of the year and replaces Richard Owen. There's a change at standoff as well, where Mark Sneed is replaced by Jamie Ellis. He gets his first outing of the year too. Two ex-Londoners also there, Luke Dawn and Michael Channing. It's exactly the same forward pack though that played at Salford, including Weller Huraki, who makes his 100th appearance in the British game tonight, having played for Crusaders and Leeds previously. On the bench, Jake Webster and Adam Milner were there last week. They miss out tonight. Mark Sneed and Dan Fleming named tonight. Sneed drops out of the starting 13, and Fleming making his first appearance in 3 matches. So the Castleford Tigers wait to come onto this ground for the first time. A 4-day turnaround makes this fixture a potential banana skin for them. They lost to London at home 12-26 early last year. They shared 60 points in a 30-all draw at the Stoop last June. But the London Broncos, 13th, only because Bradford are on -2 points so far. And after 19 unbroken seasons in the Super League, the experts have them odds on to be relegated. They've never, ever finished bottom of the table, though. Second bottom 3 times. Must avoid the bottom 2 tonight to preserve their Super League existence, or must preserve their Super League existence by avoiding the bottom 2 at the end of the season. Scott Moore, one of the key figures, and a fairly vociferous London crowd in here tonight. Luke Dawn coming back to the capital, and the Castleford Tigers are here in numbers 2. And this pitch is in magnificent order. This is a tight, compact little ground, perfect for rugby league. Ben Thaler's the man in the middle. Steve Owett's going to be quick because this surface looks absolutely bone dry, and they're ready to run.
Certainly are ready, and I can assure you that both sides will benefit from the fact that it is very tight and compact. So therefore, the kicking game is going to be extremely, extremely important tonight.
Okay, it's going to be London who will kick off then in the sky blue and black hoops. And here we go. Drinkwater's kick-off. And, well, would you have given the ball to that particular man straight from the kick-off, Justin Carney? But the on-rushing defence managed to get him down.
So important that London make sure that they get their defence solid. Against Leeds last week, they really were very poor in and around the play the ball area. The first and second markers were far too often caught out.
It's the Tigers then with first use of the football. That's Craig Hubie. And here now is Andy Lynch. Lynch driving the ball forward, ever present so far this year, and in his second spell with the Tigers. Liam Finn with the kick. And up goes the fullback. Solomona claims that perfectly and tries to get away from Wella Huraki.
Good take as well by Solomona. It needed to be. They needed that to lift their confidence. That's going to be the biggest problem, though, for the home side tonight, is the kicking from Liam Finn. It's been a real good thing for the Tigers.
This is Scott Moore. And I must say that it's one of my pet hates, one of my pet topics at times, but when you're in a new area trying to attract new people to the ground, it's vital that the spectators know who is out there on the field. And quite frankly, these London numbers are appalling.
Tackle 5, release 5.
Important there. Scott Moore trying to organise things. There's a kick, and it's not a good one. Remember, before the game started, I was very critical about London's kicking game against Leeds. They've got the talent out there to create problems when they get near the opposition line. Trouble is, their kicking game's that poor, they don't get many opportunities.
I must say it's a much better start to the match than London had last Friday. By this time, they were already 6 points in arrears. They hadn't touched the ball for the opening 4 minutes, other than a goal line dropout and kicking the ball off from the centre spot.
And you can see quite clearly, Eddie, that Castleford, their forwards, huge, big and strong. You look through the front row, Lynch, Hubie and Clark. That is very strong. And, of course, Daryl Clark, very quick.
Finn just drifts away from one would-be attacker, floats the kick in. That's the second good take. But Solomona is rumbled out on the field of play.
And that's the value that you get from Liam Finn. Pinpoint accuracy. OK, Solomona did well. The second occasion they've tested him, but it slid over the whitewash.
Well, this is the first test now for London. There are times in a game where you're going to have to defend your own try line. The sport goes from end to end, and when you're on your own line early in the game here, in a match where you want and need to start well, they must hold them out for this 6 plays.
Liam Finn gets the ball away to Luke Dawn, and Luke Dawn skirting round the outside. Was that a forward pass? The referee
certainly looked at Eddie.
Has said play on, and here is Huraki. And Huraki trying to bamboozle them in defence and bustle his way to the line. He's held up, though, by 3 London defenders. Clark is the dummy half, the outstanding Daryl Clark. And he gets it to Ellis, and that bounces off the shoulder of Grant Millington. And it's a 0 tackle, and they will try and bring it away from their own line by Denny Solomona again, who has seen plenty of it in the opening 3.5 minutes.
Well, Millington came on the right way, but it was just a pass a little bit too high and a little bit too strong.
Matt Cook with the drive for London was magnificent last week at Leeds in defeat.
He's been brilliant all this year. He knows he's got the responsibility of being the captain.
And here they come again now, the London Broncos. It's Castleford's turn to muscle up in defence.
Well, this is where another drive. Oh, it looks like there's a problem. They've gone early. That's a better kick. That's what they should be doing, turning them around. It's turned out to be a belter. Good chase as well.
Yes, great chase. And Carney wasn't tackled, and he was able to almost get up off his hands and knees there and move forward another few metres.
Well, it looks like Greenwood. He's getting treatment in the back play. It looks as though he may have to leave the field. He's limping, trying to get into that line of defence. There you see him in the back. He's a passenger, really. They'll pinpoint him, surely, the Tigers.
Yes, he's right next to the referee, Ben Thaler. Meanwhile, here come the Tigers in the shape of Andy Lynch. Defeat at Headingley for London saw them concede 50 points or more for a 3rd time in 6 games. They've conceded 51 tries and 281 points already. So I suppose in light of that sort of statistic, this opening 5 minutes hasn't been too bad for them. Good kick from Finn.
Eddie, do you know what? If you look at the way that both sides are playing here, London's try line's been tested, and you've got to say that Denny Solomona has come up with 2 brilliant takes under pressure. OK, one of them he slid out of play, but then they dealt with the threat from Castleford on their own try line. So you talk about building in confidence, and I'm sure they'll do that. And with players like Liam Finn, you can't let Castleford clear the ball that quick, because the likes of Jamie Ellis, Liam Finn, they've got a lot of players that will hurt you around the ruck.
And Liam Finn has yet to kick a goal in Super League for the Castleford Tigers. Sneed and Dixon previously, and I noticed before the kick-off, Darryl Powell had Jamie Ellis practising the kicking off the tee.
Well, it's obviously applied there by Darryl Powell, mainly due to the fact, Eddie, that Liam Finn is so good at the pinpoint short kick in towards the winger. We've already seen tonight that he's applying that sort of pressure. But can London get into a good position when it comes to the last? They get a good kick away, and that's not a good position. But at least it's found terra firma.
Yes, it wasn't bad from Drinkwater, but again, Carney coming back to retrieve the ball for the Tigers, and he's a dangerous character with the ball in hand, is this fella. He's a pocket battleship of a player. He really is. And this is a penalty for obstruction.
Yeah. Well spotted there by Ben Thaler.
It was Michael Channing who came in the wrong direction, the former London man.
He just got confused, didn't he? You can't go around the back. There was no doubt about it. James Clare went through. Well, that surprised me. They're going for the quick tap.
Well, they're going to build from this position, they hope. And that's Greenwood, who looks as though he might well have shrugged off that ankle injury, though he got back to his feet a little gingerly on that occasion. Moving the ball quickly across the line. London, they really are.
Good tackle by Justin Carney, though.
O'Callaghan had to take the tackle. Looking for the runners, it's Matt Cook again. He's ever willing, this fellow.
This is where Farrer and Drinkwater should be combining.
There is Farrer. Here is Drinkwater. Drop the shoulder, tries to go inside. Oh, lovely, gets the ball away. Farrer with a kick in behind the Castleford defence, he thought, but a knock-on, as it turns out, by the London Broncos. And I think that was McCarney, was it, the fullback last week on the wing this week?
I think they've got to take some confidence, Eddie, from the way they've started here in the 8 minutes. They've matched them, although if you look at the tackle technique of the Tigers, it does seem stronger and in more control than when London are trying to stop the Castleford team go forward.
Mason Caton Brown with the mistake. My mistake, it wasn't McCarney. So here come the Tigers once again with James Clare in the side for the first time.
That's good defence as well by London, and they need it. They're fully aware about the fact what this Tiger camp they do possess, and this is one of their abilities, is to get it out wide. But again, they're getting marking up very quickly. Look at that on that short blind side. That's good work.
A good run from Haraki. The man who took the ball forward prior to that was Michael Channing. I was about to say renewing one or two old acquaintances, but it would only be one or two, because this is a much changed London side compared to the one that he was playing for last year. Here's Liam Finn again. There it goes, high again off the boot of Liam Finn. Very easy, though, for Solomon. He just planted both feet on the ground. That's a risky pass, though, underneath his own post.
Well, Eddie, pressure's only what you put on yourself, and obviously Dennis Sonamore, he believes in his own ability, and he just took that ball without any pressure going on himself. And what I'd like to see with this London side is a bit more aggressive, be a bit more aggressive when they're defending, because they had Castleford trapped near their own line, but then Castleford managed to get into London's half. And when you're defending the opposition's line, and you know that you're a team that's probably lacking that bit of confidence, you have got to defend, and you've got to get off your line and not wait for the opposition to come at you.
That's a good run from Scott Moore. He got the pass away, but as we saw so often at Headingley last week, the final pass, the dangerous pass, it just goes to ground. Now then, Channing, is this the free play for the Tigers? It is. Clare is down the line. He's got some paces, Clare. That's a great tackle, though. Wonderful tackle in defence.
He did well, Clare, there to keep in the field of play. They've got themselves organised. It's man on man.
Holmes to Dawn, and Dawn goes wide to Shenton. And Shenton goes to ground under the tackle from Mike McMeekin. Not happy with the attention he received from the second man in. Here is Holmes again. Now it's with Millington. Millington gets it away to Lynch. And Lynch just hits the ground on tackle number 2. This is a glorious opportunity for them. Darrell Clark trying to pinch one himself. Oh, and a fumble everywhere. The ball goes backwards, though. Off the deck, picked up to Oliver Holmes. And McMeekin again with the tackling on Oliver Holmes. Down he goes. Intense pressure. Ellis gives it to Millington. Millington took a swipe across the chops from Moore. Here now is Haraki. Haraki gets it to Channing. Channing trying to duck inside the defender. Caton Brownlow stuck to the task.
Another great defensive move there by the London side.
Haraki takes it back where all the traffic is. Here is Channing, and Channing against his former club will score the first try of the night. Good defence one way, but then Castleford looked as though they were going left. They changed the direction of the attack, came back right, and Channing was just able to get himself through the gap and touchdown for the first try of the match. So Michael Channing with London until last August. 3 tries in 4 of the last 5 of 2013. Second try of 2014.
Well, they had the opportunity, didn't they? It was a shocking pass, and they knew it. That has been their problem throughout this season already. The Broncos giving away silly possession. That looked forward to me, but they got away with it. Doesn't matter. Clare, they got back to him, but it put them in a wonderful position. And when they went on that short blind side, Channing stepped in for the first try. They just run out of steam, I'm afraid, the Broncos.
Yeah, Michael Channing is one of the 2 players in the 17 tonight who were with London last year. Luke Dawn is the other. And Dawn, he is enjoying a new lease of life at Castleford this year. And so too Michael Channing. And it is Jamie Ellis who's going to take the kicks at goal tonight. Ellis to try and add the extras, and there's no problem with that. And so the Tigers lead here at the Hive in Barnet by 6 points to 0.
Well, Castleford play with great shape, whether the ball goes from one side to the other or whether they're going just straight forward and playing and taking a direct route. Just have a little look how many times that the players, they just offer themselves to get behind the ball because they know that something's going to happen. You've got Darryl Clark, well, he's a threat every time he gets his ball. Weller Haraki, and it goes out to Channing, and that's a good finish, right foot step from the centre.
A deep kick-off from London. Of course, it didn't actually work out for them with the deep kick-off from the kick-off last week at Leeds, but that was much more measured. And here is Oliver Holmes.
You got to give a lot of credit for Castleford. They picked out that short blind side, and you could see there that Illis McCarney came out onto the line. It was an easy to set up the overlap.
This is a nice run from Clark. It's a lovely run from Darryl Clark.
He's a talent, that's for sure, Darryl Clark. And if there's one hooker in Super League that was very pleased that Darryl Powell became their coach, remember, Clark was being utilised off the bench, didn't get much time on the field of play.
Millington.
Darryl Powell not saying that, Eddie. He's given plenty of time out there.
Here's Shenton, fed by Oliver Holmes, and Shenton, the legs are still going. That's a great effort from Michael Shenton against 2 defenders, Mike McMeekin one of them. And Ellis again, back it comes to Finn. He'll hoist the ball wide, but McCarney claims it.
Much better from McCarney. Got himself in a good position, anticipated the kick. But it's going to be difficult. Look how fast the Tigers are getting out of that defensive line.
Nearly 14 minutes gone. Closest to a win for London this year, 12-25 at Bradford. They've lost 3 here against Salford, Warrington and Wakefield. 26 tries before the one scored here tonight. They conceded 138 points in those 3 matches as well. But when you consider that, what was it, December the 21st, did we say last night on Boots and All, when they signed their first player for 2014, the first new face? It's no wonder it's still a little bit of a case of getting to know you for some of these players. That's a good kick, meanwhile, by Josh Drinkwater. Interesting line about Drinkwater. German passport holder. His grandparents are German, Josh Drinkwater. That's why he got into the country so quickly.
Yeah, European passport, but that's a much better kick. The coach Tony Rea will be pleased with that. It has been a huge problem throughout this season for the Broncos. The kicking game seems to just absolutely fall apart as a game untwines.
To me, having watched for 15 minutes, the last 5 minutes, the gulf is widening, isn't it, between the teams? Just how quickly Castleford can play the ball. That's a better tackle from the Broncos side, aren't they? A bit of control on the man, putting him down. But generally speaking, there's a massive difference, probably 1 or 2 seconds, between the time it takes for the Tigers to get up and play the ball and that for the horse here tonight.
Liam Finn and Weller Haraki. Yeah, we've got a cracking game for you tomorrow. As you can see, the top two at the moment. If Castleford win tonight, they will be second in the table behind Saints. But right now, it's Saints top lead second, and they will meet tomorrow, 7:30, Sky Sports 1. Ellis into centre field. Millington.
And again, good defence, but can they keep it up for the full set of 6? This will be the kick again.
It is, and it's high off the boot of Ellis. It's a towering kick, this. Very well claimed, though, just the same. Solomona is patrolling his goal line from left to right and in the centre. And so far, he's been safe as houses under the high kicks.
Yeah, both wingers have, haven't they? They've took it well. The most important factor for the London now is that don't come up with a silly error. They've got to try to get into the opposition half and then maybe, you know, get the kick through, force the error. But that's the problem at the moment, getting through this Tiger defence, which is very strong indeed.
Yes, the defence tigerish. Pardon the pun, on show again there. That was Farah. McMeekin will take it forward. Holmes doing a job downstairs. Oh, nice work from Scott Moore. Oh, but then he gives the ball away cheaply to Lynch, and Lynch gets the ball away then to Darrell Clark. Darrell Clark waits for Ellis, and Ellis, oh, they're slapping at him really rather than trying to tackle him, and Ellis, eventually, McCarney is the man who puts him down. But look at the progress they've made from that interception. That's touched. This is going to be 6 to go. It is 0 tackle. The referee actually says no, we'll take the scrum because no advantage.
Eddie, Scott Moore's one of the senior players within this London side, and I'm sure some of the younger players are going to be looking towards his influence in this game and how it's going to be. You don't come up with a kick like that. You either stick it behind him, and you can't give opportunities to the likes of Darrell Clark. On this occasion, you get away with it. You can't keep turning over the ball cheaply like that, though.
I agree with you there, and mainly due to the fact that if you're only 2 points down and you wanted to come with something different, maybe with 2 minutes remaining, yes, that's a type of kick to do, but not at this point in time. They needed position and they needed possession.
Look out, here's Carney, and Carney gets it wide to Shenton, who steps out of the challenge from O'Callaghan, comes back inside. There's 4 round him. Down he goes eventually. Pointing the way was Ellis, and Ellis then decided to go on his own down the short side. Shenton waits again. Off the deck, he passes it to Oliver Holmes, and Holmes will have a dash at them. This could be a big moment in the match for London. They don't want to concede another try here if they possibly can. And it's with Finn, and then quick hands eventually, but then a knock on by Channing, and they survive, London. And they'll take some heart from that. They'll take some encouragement.
Yeah, at least they moved in. They applied the pressure. That's why the bat pass was coming forth. All about by just applying that pressure and getting into the face of the opposition.
6-0, 18.5 minutes gone. London again with Moore. Thunderous challenge on him, though.
Boy,
great tackle by Millington. He felt that.
Did he ever? He's hurt.
I think one of the things the Tigers have done really well, Eddie, is where they've given the ball to the Broncos. Nearly every time they've started with possession, it's been almost on their own try line or within 10 metres of it, and that's made it difficult, hasn't it? London need the majority of the ball in this game to have a chance of winning. And I also disagree with both you and Terry. I do think they need to try something a little different, because if they just play territorial like that, they're going to get blown off the park here.
And that ball did go dead. So James Clare will bring it back.
I'm just saying, Eddie, just a touch too strong there by Drinkwater. That's a good offload, yeah.
Channing trying to weave his way through the defence, but he goes down under the challenge. Dawn and Holmes, and here comes Shenton down the left-hand side, where he and Carney have been making hay all season. Carney at dummy half. Holmes.
Look how easy the Tigers have found it to get over the advantage line. This London side look a little bit tired in that defence. There was no one moving forward.
Well, Clark, they go down the short side again to Carney, stepping through the challenges. Brilliantly picked up by Shenton, and a great try for the skipper. Or is it?
James, a check in touch, please.
Ben Thaler's going to ask the video referees to check for a foot in touch. If he gets this green light, it'll be the 100th try of his Castleford career. Well, there he is. He's in the air, and he hasn't touched the whitewash yet, but has he touched the whitewash there? Just before it touched down, the ball was touched down.
No try, Eddie. No try. I'm sure his foot there touches the line.
Yeah, I'm with you, Clarkie. Definitely a brush of the whitewash, and that's sufficient to say N-O-T-R-Y.
James, what's the decision? Scrum down.
Well, it's been turned down, Eddie, but I must say, and you'll see quite clear well that it is. Yep. Just the toe, that was sufficient.
Well, he's denied his 100th try of his Castleford career.
The point I'm making, Eddie, is that London coach Tony Ray has to make sure that they're aware that's twice that Castleford have caught them on that short blind side. Okay, scored one, had one turned down, but they've got to fix it.
Well, Haraki in very quickly for the Castleford Tigers then with that particular challenge.
They need a clean break to London. They need to get in the Castleford half.
Well, last week the Tigers conceded 11 penalties. It gave the Reds a chance to play and attack. At the moment, the discipline, the speed and control, we're looking at a top four side at the moment, Eddie, in my opinion. The way that the Tigers have played, the amount of ground they've made, obviously they've had more of the ball than their opponents. You'd expect them to score again pretty soon if the stats stay like that.
Luke Dawn trying to jink his way beyond the likes of McMeekin and company. Here is Hubie, and Alex Foster is there to help with that particular tackle. Millington gets it away, and Ellis gets another ball away to Shenton. Is this the moment for Shenton? Well, unselfishly, he gives it to Oliver Holmes, and Oliver Holmes touches down instead. They were denied by the video referee not too long ago, in fact, a matter of seconds, but they can't deny Oliver Holmes. And Oliver Holmes, who's played all 7 now this year, the unsung workhorse of the pack, really appreciated by his coach, and a coach will appreciate this.
Beautiful play by Millington, set it all up. Shenton, who's in scintillating form this year, he did the right thing. There's nothing about this Castleford side where I'm only looking for glory. They really are working as a team unit, and that has been one of the features from their new coach, Daryl Powell. But Shenton, the appointment of going to be the captain, it really has brought him back to international level.
Well, Holmes may have scored that try, but you can put it down to Grant Millington. And what Castleford have, they have the likes of Andy Lynch and Craig Hubie, who can play before the line. So the defenders do not know whether they're going to try and run over you, or whether they're going to play before that line. And Grant Millington, that was a good play, because all he did then was suck in the London defenders, and they had eyes for him.
So here's Ellis again to try and maintain his faultless record with the boot, and he does. That's 2 from 2 for him, and Castleford lead by 12 points to 0.
And it's all about having a loose forward that has that ability, and his name is Millington. He started it off, and look how Shenton went inside, kept his calm, cool, collective mind. Holmes in a good position.
Would you contest this restart, Mike, or kick deep? Well, they've kicked deep, so that's answered the question, but the Broncos need the ball. They just give it to that. The control and the focus that the Tigers are playing with, they won't compete or beat them on that ground.
Phil, I don't think they can go short there, because if they go short, just look how many metres that Castleford are making just with simple plays. They need the ball away from their try line, because they're struggling to bring the ball away.
Yes, the forward pack of Castleford dominant, and Andy Lynch playing his full part in that.
Well, we knew it, Eddie, before the game, because it's a very, very well-refined pack as well. The front row of Lynch, Hubie and Clark, and we've already seen the power you get from Holmes, Haraki and Millington. It's going to be difficult for the Broncos, but that's a good run from dummy half. Boy, does ever a side need a penalty, and they tried to sneak one then.
Yes, they did. And here is Ilyas Makani having a little scamper from dummy half. 13 carries last week at fullback, just the one error. Now then, amazed to see this fellow on the field, Atelave. Now, the Tongan international, he was in hospital last Friday. The suspicion was he'd ruptured his spleen. He's made a miraculous recovery. But he's fully fit. He's out there. That's good tackling. Good tackling that on Solomona. He's put to the ground unceremoniously.
This has got to be a bomb.
And it is a bomb. And it's claimed easily by James Clare.
Not only was it claimed easily, Eddie, I don't want to be too critical, but it wasn't contested by any of the London players. There were 4 of them around it. None of them went to try and catch the ball.
No,
they were almost waiting for him to
they?
catch it before they tackled him.
Look, I know that one man doesn't make a team, and he wouldn't have made any difference in that situation either, but I just wonder how much London Broncos are missing young Kieran Dixon. Because we haven't seen him, and he was a top try scorer last year, and he was a contender, wasn't he, for the Young Player of the Year.
Yeah, but Eddie, it doesn't matter how much talent you've got out in the 3 quarters. If you don't have the build-up, and they're not having the positional play, you can't play in your own half all the time and expect to win a game.
No, but they're trying to build something here, Steve, and he's one of their most talented players, and they haven't seen him.
I understand that, Eddie, but, you know, they've got to get their kicking game sorted out. It's non-existent.
Millington and Clark, and here is Lynch again, and they do make so much ground, Castleford, don't they? Looks like that defeat against Salford hasn't left them with any sort of hangover this week. Haraki dumps the ball back to Channing. He gets away from one. He can't get away from Televe, though. And Clark is waiting at dummy half. Fires the pass then to Liam Finn. He just pops it up to Craig Hubie. And Hubie with a big leg drive. They're underneath the London Broncos posts again. Clark is waiting. Will he go on his own and pinch one? No, he won't. He gives it wide and finds Ellis. That bounces then off Luke Dawn. And Jamie O'Callaghan is it who has it back for the London Broncos.
Yeah, just had the opportunity. Got the ball that popped up. It was as simple as that. But again, you can see that Michael Shenton was soon to get down there. He knew there was a problem, but he got into it. Well, can this home side, can the Broncos get over that halfway line? Yes, they can.
Yes, they have here. And it's a good attack building down that right-hand side. This is O'Callaghan, and he gets to within 5 metres of the line. Now then, the London Broncos supporters, they find their voice. Oh, what a strange play, the ball. But anyway, it's 6 to go. Matt Cook has it. The referees wipe the tackle count down. So this is a golden opportunity for London to post some points, but that pass is poor. Oh, and Hubie went in on that tackle very, very heavily indeed.
Is it Alex Foster close to the line?
Well, with these numbers, Phil, I'm afraid to say, who knows?
It was Foster.
This is Drinkwater, puts the ball onto his boot.
That's better, that's much better.
Goal line dropout.
And that'll lift their spirits. Boy, do they need something. They've had very little opportunity to apply the pressure, and the little dink through has done just that. Great work. Got it through, and you've got to give a lot of credit there for O'Callaghan. Got him into a good position. Now, the first time in the game, second set of 6.
Yes, goal line dropout forced by London. They travel to Perpignan in the Cup next week. Can they make the journey bolstered by a first win of 2014? History says yes. The match so far, though, says no. But there has been improvement in the last 5 minutes. Wella Haraki standing absolutely firm as a rock.
Had a bit of a problem, the Castleford prop forward, Andy Lynch, a few moments ago. I think they had to come on, the trainer had to come on, and I think he had a dislocated finger. And he just had it pulled out, put it back in shape, said, I'm okay.
Televe again with a solid run. This is Cunningham at dummy half. And gets the ball away to Farah. Farah then tries to get it wide, and McMeekin operating in the centres tonight. Here's Solomona. Here is Farah. Pops the ball up for Cook again. And Matt Cook gets the London Broncos to within a metre or so of the line, and this is the last tackle for them coming up. And they're running it now. They put the kick in. And that's easy for Clare. Can he get out of trouble? Yes, he can. Yes, he can. That's good play by James Clare.
Yeah, but it was a weak attempt to defend.
Credit the run, Steve-O, from the in-goal area.
I know, but you've got to. He put himself in a good position. The kick was good, but they've got to have. There were two men there that could have got to him, and they didn't put him down.
And Matt Cook penalised for messing around on the floor.
Eddie, that's frustration. And normally you find that teams at the bottom, whether they make mistakes, then they give a penalty away, then they concede a try. You can't do that. And here you go, perfect position. All they need to do, 2 men on 1. James Clare spins out of that tackle. Brilliant play from the Castleford winger, but I'm sure Tony Ray, when he reviews this game, he'll be disappointed with those efforts.
Well, I said before the game kicked off, in regards to this London outfit, you know, you've got to go through the basics, and the basics is tackling, passing to the best of your ability, and they're failing to do that.
Well, here come Castleford again with Hubie and Finn. It was a little bit high, maybe, the tackle, but referee Ben Thaler keeps the whistle in his pocket. This is Hiraki. Wants to go through Drinkwater. Channing waits at dummy half, and Channing has a little go for the line himself. Hiraki there again. Fires the pass to Finn. Finn then with a crossfield kick, looking for the big men out wide, finding the big man. Does Shenton get his 100th this time? Yes, he does. Michael Shenton gets the 100th try of his Castleford career. It was delayed because of the video referee decision earlier, chalked off quite rightly. And Michael Shenton, 100 tries for Castleford. 5 tries last year, his lowest total in 10 years. Second try here of 2014.
Gave away the penalty. Another 30-40 metres downfield. Just frustration going through it. A little dig at Daryl Clark. Now this guy, again, Liam Finn, what a beautiful kick. Great take from Shenton. And you just say to yourself, they said that this guy wouldn't make it in Super League.
Well, I think good teams in Super League, good teams in rugby, survive at one end of the field and shortly after score at the other. And that's exactly what we saw them do. Nothing wrong with the kick that the London Broncos pick in. James Clare picked it up well, got out of trouble, penalty, and the quality. You always felt that when the pass went to the kicker, there was an army of white shirts chasing forward to be under that ball as it dropped from the sky.
So Ellis then, on his first appearance of the season, Castleford's top point scorer of 2013 with 147 points, 59 goals. And there's 3 goals to his credit today and 3 tries as well for Castleford, 18-0.
Liam Finn is a remarkable player, especially with his kicking game. And he just has far too much time to place the ball in the air, stand back, admire it, and then that man, Michael Shenton, he jumps higher than any other player and scores the try. Brilliant player from Liam Finn.
And the kick-off bounced in front of Castleford player, but here goes Justin Carney. He really is a wrecking ball down that right side, and Daryl Clark, what a break from him. He has support from Shenton. Is it going to be 2 in a row from Shenton? Is it going to be 2 in a row from Shenton? No, it isn't. It's good tackling back by Atelave, but look where they are, Castleford. And what's more, they get a penalty. Oh, he's in the bin. He's sending Atelave to the bin.
Yeah, it was a professional foul. He did well, didn't he? The big fella did well to get back and prevent the try, but he just hung around far too long.
Stuart, this justified, do you think?
Well, I think once he's given the penalty in that situation, there's no option but to put him in the sin bin. You know, he did have the option just to let him run. They're in a very strong position, but he's taken the view that, you know, that is a professional foul, and therefore he has to put him in the sin bin.
So it gets even worse for the Broncos here with one of the most lively forwards at Atelave off the field for 10 minutes and in the sin bin, so we won't see him until the second half, and there's a real chance here now for the Castleford Tigers almost to put this game to bed. This is Wella Hiraki. Wella Hiraki gets the pass away brilliantly, and that is a try in the corner. It's a try in the corner to James Clare, if it's given the green light by the video referee. And again, it's a question, Stuart, of whether there's a foot in touch in the build-up.
It is, and I think it's a carbon copy of the first one by Michael Shenton. Does his foot clip the line on the way over, or does he get the ball down? That's the decision there, and I would say that that foot has just clipped the line on the way over.
Well, it's not often I agree, and I think that this has touched the whitewash. We'll see it there. Yep.
But he's very close at that point. I thought
think
on
you
the
can still
first
see
one.
the green there. I think you still see the grass.
It's very tight. You wouldn't want to make this decision live, would you? This is why we have the video referee, and this is why we rely on the technology. From that angle, there is still green between the boot and
There.
the foot.
Oh, now then, the toe trails.
Yeah, before he gets it down.
Well, that's a decision. The foot definitely touches the line there, but is the ball down before it touches?
Well, there's a shadow underneath the ball that indicates to me that it can't have been touching terra firma.
There's a shadow underneath the foot as well.
This may well give us the definitive.
Can't see the shadow there, Eddie.
There it is now.
That's it. Touches the whitewash before it gets it down.
I think it's a fraction just on the line before he gets the ball down. I think that's in touch.
Well, this is incredible, Stuart. I'm agreeing with you again.
Well, let's see if the video referee does.
Tries denied. It has been a matter of centimetres on the left and now a matter of centimetres on the right that's denied Castleford wingers 2 tries.
And an indication of how Castleford are going to play this season. Darrell Powell's certainly got a combined attacking threat all the way across the field. They're doing it remarkably well, but it's as simple as that. You can't put your foot on the line.
Well, they've been denied 12 points, and from a neutral's point of view, that's probably a good thing, because 18-0 the game's alive to a degree, 30-0 the game's almost over. Frustration for Darrell Powell, but he must be very pleased with this opening first half performance.
Certainly with the way that he's...
it's been aggressive, it's been skillful, hasn't it?
Yeah, but the forwards have really set the platform, and they've been crafty, as I say. They utilised the short blindside on a couple of occasions. And the running from Darrell Clark, we saw that with a break of 30 metres. Such a talented hooker.
There's a hand in the face then of Ben Farrow as he tried to get to his feet. There's the last tackle. There's the difference. Castleford began this set of 6, 10 metres from their own line. They're kicking from 10 metres inside their own half on the last tackle and straight down the throat of Luke Dawn.
And Eddie, if they're not making meters carrying the ball, when they kick the ball, they've got to make sure that it goes behind the fullback or goes behind the wingers.
He's red for danger when this fella gets the ball. Justin Carney. Try against Salford last week. 26 tries in 26 appearances. And apparently a scoring record like that has come to the attention of the land that he left behind. The NRL clubs have been very interested in Justin Carney's progress at Castleford. 6 minutes to half-time.
He's been a star, that's for sure. And
he's exciting to watch.
Oh, is he, Evan? He's got great upper body strength as well. That's better. They got onto it. Well, Clark's got to be careful.
High kick here from Liam Finn. O'Callaghan's underneath it, pouches it safely.
But look who's there to meet him. They've got 2, 3 players.
And Frankie Mariano is out there as well now, the number 18.
That was the knock on, got away with it. A little bit of a fumble there.
Remember, London down to 12 men with 1 man, Televe in the sin bin, and he won't reappear until the start of the second half.
They just don't have the muscle, do they, the Broncos, I'm afraid. It's a completely different complexion when we see the Castleford front row. And
this fella's got the muscle, Steve.
Yeah, he never stops working, but you know, he can only do so much.
And his interview after the match at Leeds last week was so positive. You know, early days he realises that this is interesting from Drinkwater, and that's back to 6, I think. Knocked back off Castleford, the referee said. So they escaped there, the Tigers.
They had the opportunity, didn't they? Maybe they should have just depended on trying to drop on the ball. Nice offload.
Well, they seem to enjoy the little short rubber kicks through, don't they, London Broncos? But this isn't the longest pitch in Super League. It's very tight, as we said right at the start of the match here. Surprised that Drinkwater and company haven't gone for a 40-20?
Yes. And
well, I thought you might be.
Well, I hate to keep saying it, Eddie, is the fact that, you know, their kicking game is poor. They very rarely have turned Castleford around.
Oh, great ball from Clark to Dawn, and here's Hubie. Oh, he's lost it.
He tried to
forward, did he?
He tried to go through the post, I think.
But has Liam Finn touched down?
If it is a ball steal, greater advantage is a try.
Okay, so it's he's looking for 2 in the tackle, and if it's an advantage to Castleford, it's a try. Stuart's what he's saying.
It is. It's how the ball comes out. Was it lost, or was it actually stolen by Solomona? And you know, the way the ball came out, you'd have to think that Solomona had some impact on that. So if Solomona's pulled it out, it goes onto the post and back to the player following up. If he scores, it's going to be a try.
And that's Liam Finn.
Yeah, so it's all about how that ball came out.
Well, Ben Thaler was absolutely right next door to all that. Obviously, it's wise, I suppose, to hand it upstairs, but he was in a very good position.
Yeah, it's stripped, no doubt about it. Solomona, right arm.
And to be fair to Ben, he's actually called it that way. He asked if the ball had been stolen. The greater advantage is the try. And so, you know, he's got the technology, so just use it to back up his decision.
Do you think a fullback would try a ball steal there, Mike, with a metre from the line at speed? Do you think he would try that? I think we're trying to imagine here. I just don't imagine a fullback. He'd try and wrap up the ball, but he wouldn't steal it, Terry.
You're just trying to stop him, aren't you? Put your body in front of him. Craig Hubie running at you. You've just got to make sure that you get hold of him.
I agree. That's what it looks like, Mike, is that he's stolen it. But I don't believe that's in his mind when he goes into that tackle.
Well, it's frustration, you know. They haven't really settled into any sort of team pattern. And so I think he knew what he was doing.
I think he makes a definite play, Stuart, for the ball, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And the other aspect of this is Hubie doesn't really lose the ball. He has it taken off him. You know, no matter what the intention is, the ball still comes out of his grasp because of the presence of Solomon and him pulling at the ball. It's not an impact challenge where the ball's knocked out. It looks like it's being pulled out.
This, by the way, is the view. This is the ref cam. This is the view that Ben Thaler had of this.
He's pulling it out. You can see that.
Well, the video referee's obviously got a bit of a problem with this because you know, he's having a good few looks at this. We've seen the same footage. It all depends on whether he thinks that ball's being pulled out by Solomona.
Well, whether it's a try or not, Craig Hubie will be very, very pleased that it's got the padding, because he was going to headbutt the post. He's lucky to get away with that.
Well, James Child has had a long look at all this. He's the video ref tonight. And it's a try. It was stolen, and the greater advantage is the try. So Liam Finn registers his first 4-pointer for the Castleford Tigers. 10 years ago, he was last in Super League with Wakefield, and well, he's having the time of his life at Castleford in 2014.
Well, you can see how they so easily are breaking down this defence. The pass to Dawn, and then he's on hand. His ability for this Castleford side has been mainly due to the kicking game, but he knew how to put himself in a position, and it popped up for him nicely. Good run by Hubie.
And Steve-O, whether it goes wide or whether it's short little passes like that, Castleford will trouble you when they've got the ball.
A few moments ago, Ellis from bang in front, and Castleford have got this match well and truly in their pockets now. They lead by 24 points to 0.
And it's amazing transformation, isn't it? Remember, it was only 12-0 when London had their first real good opportunity. It was a lovely little dink in. The kick from Ben Farrer really should have caught the Castleford Tigers with the dropout. They failed to do the defence, gave away a penalty, and the game has just turned on its head.
Here's Ellis again. I say, when we saw Castleford at Hull Kingston Rovers, Darryl Powell made a change, took Kurt Dixon out, Richard Owen came in, he scored a hat-trick. He's made a couple of subtle changes here tonight, and Ellis one of them, and he's kicking very well for the Tigers. And they've got Clare, of course, on one wing as well, who has been denied by the video ref.
Eddie, when you go into...
It's working, is what I'm saying.
Of course it does. When you go into a side that are playing well, that are third in the table, you've got to perform. And that's why Castleford are doing well, because they've got competition for places.
And on top of that, Tez, is the fact that Grant Millington he's playing more rather than a loose forward. He's playing more like a standoff.
He's fairly safe under these high balls, Solomona, isn't he? Plants his feet wide. It's good base. I mean, he's not got much pressure on him, to be fair, but he does take them.
Brian Carney used to plant his feet wide, but he used to drop them.
You know, I think that's the 16th time that London have had the ball in this game, Eddie. I'd guess there's probably about 10 of them where they've caught it, Solomona, inside his own 10-metre area. In terms of playing for territory, it's been a masterclass from the Castleford Tigers tonight.
And you remember, you know, at the start of the season, at the launch, certainly in Manchester, people were talking about Castleford as one of the 2 or 3 clubs seriously threatened by relegation. But those two, Danny Orr in the bob hat and Darryl Powell, the coach, they've done a wonderful job. Here now is Matt Cook looking for something here. He gets the ball to Foster, and Foster is hauled down.
Great work by Liam Finn.
This is the last one. Last one here. It's Greenwood. Cunningham, I beg your pardon. James Cunningham. And Cunningham, well, he went for broke. He was caught bang on the line.
Eddie, there were 6 players to his left versus 3 Castleford defenders. Spread halfway across the pitch, it would have been a try.
Well, it was a great run, wasn't it, by Matt Cook that put him in that position. You've got to give a fair amount of credit to the way that the Tigers came back. They've got the overlap.
They have. Here goes Clare down the wing. He's got McCartney after him. He's got Solomona after him. He cuts inside and down he goes under the tackle. It was a good tackle back by Mason Caton Brown. Oh, and they've blown it. They've blown it, the Tigers. Well, right on the stroke of half-time as well. Caton Brown's chase back was good. Wella Haraki just made a bit of a porridge of it. They were hunting yet another try. Michael Shenton, the skipper, not too impressed with that. But Darryl Powell making his way across to the dressing room must surely be well pleased with the opening 40 minutes that we've seen. Remember, they've scored 24 points. They have had 2 tries disallowed by the video referee. Rightly, of course, because it was millimetres in it. But it could have been so much worse for the Broncos, so much better for the Tigers. And London Broncos 0, the Castleford Tigers 24. Half-time here at the Hive, the home of the Broncos in Barnet. New venture this year to a new audience. And, well, London desperate to begin their season, get the victory. And Joe Grimer in the blue top and Tony Ray, the coaching double act, with a lot of work to do in that dressing room right now. And Darryl Powell will be well pleased with what he's seen from the Tigers. 2 tries as well disallowed by the foot of the 2 players on the flanks just being millimetres on the whitewash. So 12 points went to begging. It could be 36-0. As it is 24-0, and plenty, I'm sure, for Brian Carney and John Wells to get their teeth into now as we look back on the crucial moments of that first half.
Yes, thanks very much, Eddie. Very relaxed looking Castleford dressing room. I said to you pre-game, John, if you were in the London Broncos dressing room and you could give them one message, you said it would be ruck defence. How do you think that ruck defence was at the start of this game?
Well, I think for the most part, Brian, it was better. It was an improvement certainly on what we saw last week and what I've seen in rounds 1 to 5 of Super League so far. That said, we're going to revisit that at the end of this piece of analysis. The first clip, though, perhaps a more worrying sign for me individually. This is the fullback. This is goal line defence. Now, I have to reiterate, this is goal line defence inside the opening 10 minutes. Have a look at your fullback and have a look at the urgency that's shown there. The desire to get across, to help his teammates. I checked this footage a couple of times just to see if he was injured. He's not injured. I mean, it's one thing or another. It's either fitness or it's attitude, and I hope it's the former. He's a young and he's an inexperienced player. But when I compare that to some of the later clips I've got and some of the individuals I've picked out, that for me as a coach would be a very worrying sign. That doesn't smack to me of goal line defence. So remember, we've for lots and lots of years we've put the little circles over Paul Wellens and tracked him screaming across the field, shouting at everybody, clattering people into touch, and that's not the same sort of urgency that we've seen from, albeit the top fullback in the British game over the last decade. But that for me would be a worrying sign so early in the game.
Energy levels down there on that piece of play. Tries from Channing and Oliver Holmes gave Castleford Tigers a 12-0 lead in that game. Who stood out for you in that Castleford side? I thought Channing was very good in his game against his old club. Who would you pick out as your star man in that early part of the game?
No, the usual suspects. Darrell Clark did well, Craig Hubie and Andy Lynch have led well from the front. But for me, young winger, James Clare, he had a horror of a Super League debut. I think it was last year, the year before at Huddersfield. He had a shocker, and I really felt for that. He's still 22 years of age. This is his 17th career game. Some really, really smart stuff here for me. And then that's the first bit. That's the first bit. Just the awareness, the game awareness at such a young age to know to do that. Then the urgency to get back to the 20, takes the 10 yards off the London defence, and then a nice little offload to keep things going, Michael Channing. And then again, another piece of play just 5 or 10 minutes later on. This is classy play. I think he's a classy player, actually, potentially. Has the potential to be. That's a difficult pickup. That's a great piece of skill to get out of his in-goal area, and all this at a time when the Broncos were under some pressure. The Broncos threatening to set up camp in Castleford's 20-metre area. So I thought that was very well done for such an inexperienced player, and that's a direct contrast actually to the first clip we've seen. 12 points became 18 points when Michael Shenton, captain of the club, crossed for his 100th try for Castleford Tigers, and he joined quite an illustrious list of players. Castleford's all-time scoring list now contains the name also of Michael Shenton. He's just below that, I should say, on 100. One of your heroes, John Joyner, there on 185. Yeah, my boyhood hero, John Joyner, in second place. Fantastic.
And you yourself are on, that's page 1. You're
on page 3, I think, on page 4.
Look, we started off talking about the ruck defence. You said it had shown improvements at the very start of the game. As the game went on and we got closer to the half-time break, I felt it deteriorated a little. Would that be a fair analysis?
Yeah, they just can't keep up with the pace that Castleford are throwing at them. Let's have a look at the last clip then. This was the penalty try, but it's the build-up that I'm interested in, because this is exactly what we spoke about pre-game, isn't it? A late retreating defender, an unset ruck, and who's the man who's going to take full advantage of it? Darrell Clark. We told you, he'd rip him to bits. Any situation he's felt with that, and he did. He did exactly that. Put Luke Dawn through the hole. And then there was I don't know why they took so long about this. This was an absolute certain penalty try. Denny Solomona with a strip and a much-deserved half-time lead. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it was a strip. OK, that's it. 24-0 to the Castleford Tigers. They're sitting pretty at the moment. Can the London Broncos rally, Eddie? We'll find out in the second half. Back to you.
Yes, we will find out in the second half. The Castleford second half to come, with the Castleford Tigers on their way back to second in the table behind the Saints ahead of tomorrow night's match between St Helens and Leeds. And immediately indecision from the kickoff. Nobody from London then went searching for that kickoff. It was hanging, it was high, there was no pressure. Then the pressure arrived because London allowed the ball to bounce.
Very disappointing, and he will be furious, Tony Ray. There was 3 people around. It appeared to me as though no one wanted to shout and say it's mine.
Well, that's a simple basic. You can't control the kickoff, then you are asking for trouble, and they've made life even more difficult for themselves than it would have to be in this game.
2 minutes more at the start of this second half left in the sin bin for that man at Tel Aviv, waiting to return to the action. The kick, left-footed from Drinkwater, is all along the ground eventually, and it runs dead in goal. And Castleford are anxious to get on with it, and here they go. Tremendous work once again from James Clare.
That's what you need from a winger, isn't it? And the determination you could see was etched on his face.
Look where they are after just 2 tackles now. They're in London Broncos territory.
Eddie, did you say about win tackle 1? And wingers in the modern game do that for you. On 3 players, look where Grant Millington takes it. He also takes it off the back of 2 decent player the balls. So it really does help those big men out.
Well, the Tigers looking to stretch their advantage at the start of this second half. This is Luke Dawn, who's difficult to put down.
And straight away, you can see the position they're there. They'll be in prime territory to get this kick away and apply the pressure.
Finn crossfield looking for the big men. Oh, well claimed. Well claimed by Ben Farrer. He didn't let that one bounce.
No, he never kept his eyes off the ball, did he? He just concentrated. And it's not a bad ploy when you think about it. This is the quality of the coach, Darrell Powell, in as much that he knows the confidence that he has in the man, the halfback. Number 26, Liam Finn, He knows what he's capable of with those short kicks. Absolutely superb tonight, Finn.
Televay is waiting to return to the fray on the far side of the field, and that's where Graham Beecroft is. Let's hear from him with news of what was said in the dressing room at half-time. Graham.
Well, in the Castleford dressing room, the message was stay focused, stay disciplined. Just in other words, keep going, doing exactly the same things as you did in the first half. As far as London are concerned, well, they've got to do everything in all parts of the pitch. They want to try and build their way back into the game, Eddie. They want to try and put more pressure on when they have the ball at the Castleford end of the ground. They know they've been in it for periods. There wasn't any throwing of cups or anything like that. Just trying to get the team to get into the game and play to their full potential.
Yeah, he's a fairly level-headed guy, is Tony Ray. He wouldn't be ranting and raving. He knows that things are going to take time to stabilise here. But it is a results-based industry, of course, and it's all about the 80 minutes that you play on game day.
It's difficult, Eddie, but, you know, I keep going back to the fact that you've got to have the basics right, and that's where they're letting themselves down. If you don't do the basics right, forget about what skill you have inside your body.
Notice there Televay is back on the field after his 10 minutes in the sin bin. That bounces off the chest of Makani, loses ground. Castleford surround him. Nathan Massey is out there to help out with the tackle by Jamie Ellis. No way forward for the fullback, Denny Solomona. Castleford player injured in that play. I think it is Massey who's and the referee wants them to play the ball, so they do eventually. And that was Cunningham at dummy half. Got it away. Cunningham in again.
That's much better from the Broncos. A lot quicker to the play of the ball, a lot more enthusiasm. Good tackle by Finn, though.
On his opposite, Drinkwater. Goes high off the boot of Farrer again. It's a slice kick, really. Well claimed by McMeekin. And then the ball is dropped. McMeekin had to offload because it was on the last tackle. And then the ball was dropped under the pressure of the tackle. So Castleford have it back. And here's Luke Dawn. Now Craig Hubie.
Nice to see this fella, Craig Hubie, back into solid form. A couple of years ago, of course, he was in scintillating form, but had a very bad injury. It knocked him back, but he's slowly but surely got back into it.
He has. He's quite a servant to Castleford in his 12th season with the club. And he's 28 in May. This is his 52nd consecutive appearance. This is Liam Finn, meanwhile. A looping pass over the top. And Clare again looking to get past the defence, but impossible. Liam Finn and Wella Huraki. Finn again, attacking the line, great ball, great try, Craig Hubie. Engineered by Finn, scored by Hubie. Bullet pass across the face of the Broncos post from the Irish international, Liam Finn. And Hubie, on his 52nd consecutive appearance, as I've just said, registers his first try of the campaign.
Beautiful play by Finn. Looked as though he was looking for the kick and they just hesitated. Only one came out of the line to apply the pressure. By that time, the prop forward, Craig Hubie, was over.
Well, Liam Finn, when he goes at the line, he wants some runners. And Craig Hubie, well, he set Liam Finn up in the first half. He had 3 options then, and he picks the big man, and nobody laid a hand on him. Great play from the prop forward.
Yes, Craig Hubie seems to have been around for years and has. And you'd think he was older than 27, but he isn't. A rare try against London last year, by the way, in the win for London by 26 points to 12. And that was at Castleford, that one. This one is going to be, I think, a Castleford victory tonight, because this is going to make it 30 points to 0. And the agony for the Broncos will continue after tonight. 7 straight defeats. For Castleford, though, second place is beckoning in the first utility Super League table.
Well, it can be difficult when you lead 24 points to 0 at half-time. Obviously, to remain focused Here's we see the try again, the final pass to them. But I think what they did to impressive for there in the first 5 minutes of this second half, they stayed tight, not loose. They continued to do the things they wanted to do, and it wasn't about individual efforts. You know, I think the Tiger supporters would tell us here now, the ones who've watched the games this season, it's better to have a good team than great players. And last year, in Rangiches, they had one of the greatest players in this competition. But they now look a more balanced team, and that seems to be working for them. It isn't as if one player, Mike, one name stands out in all the commentary that's gone through tonight. It's been spread evenly throughout so many of the names and so many of the threats that are posed now by the Tigers.
Yeah, you're spot on. It's all about doing your job to the best of your ability, and that means that there's no weak link in the chain. It's very impressive from the Tigers.
And that point emphasised by the fact that we have had 5 different try scorers for the Tigers here tonight. Darrell Clark, here's the latest try scorer, Hubie, to Millington in centre field. Millington gets the arms free, gets the ball away. Nathan Massey, struggling to his feet. Massey gets there eventually, plays it to Clark. Clark stabs the kick in. This will run away on this very fast track. And McCarney wants to get on with it quickly for the Broncos. Brings it back to the 20. Here we go. That shows some enthusiasm from young Ilias McCarney.
Yeah, he impressed me against Leeds last week as well. Played at full back in that position, but you just wonder whether the likes of Ilias McCarney, Eddie, if he was with a top side and a top-class centre, it would be all so different for him, perhaps.
They on halfway. Plays the ball to Scott Moore. And Scott Moore was grappled by Darrell Clark, and I don't mean it was round the throat. It was a real solid tackle round the middle. And more solid defence on show from the Tigers.
Well, you can see the difference there again, and they're just submitting so easily.
Off the boot again of Drinkwater, claimed by Justin Carney. And a good run and good chase by Mike McMeekin, to be fair. And again, McMeekin working really hard from dummy half. A little bit of help from his captain, Matt Cook. Here is Shenton. This is a much more enthusiastic set defensively from London. Ellis. Carney again. 5 different try scorers. Carney, so far, not one of them. Hubie couldn't slip the pass to Luke Dawn.
Well, that's one of the best periods in defence that we've seen from the Broncos tonight.
And he's gone, I was going to say he's gone for a 40-20, but he hasn't. It was,
look at the chase.
Mark Sneed, who's out there now. He's been brought on at the start of this second half.
Boy, that'll please Darrell Powell, the Tigers coach. That was sensational. There was no less than 11 players in one straight line. There was nowhere for the Bronco to get out.
Steve-O, and that's what you call a team effort, because if you weren't involved in that last set of 6 carrying the ball forward, your job is to chase hard, chase that kick and defend like your life depends on it.
Well, you normally get maybe 6 or 7, but to get 11 in a straight line before the Broncos had even gone 2 meters forward is amazing.
Moore and Televe. He is a roughhouse, isn't he? He's difficult to put down as a Televe.
He's a hard worker.
Farah to Drinkwater. Wide it goes to McMeekin. McMeekin on the inside of his left boot down the line, but it was easy for Dawn, who tries to return.
The most amazing thing, Eddie, is that...
Here they go again with Shenton. He was fed then by Carney. There's 4 in support for this. The ball goes inside to Carney. I said we'd had 5 different try scorers. Now we've got a 6th. Justin Carney underneath the sticks. Referee checks both ways, gives the try. And Justin Carney, 6th try of the campaign, 27th try in his 27th appearance. Justin Carney. 2-year deal. In the 2nd year of that 2-year deal, NRL clubs are watching.
Again, they've utilised that short blind side all the time in the world. Carney took the ball from Shenton. It was so easy.
That's confidence, that when you've only got a short little space, I think it was only about 10 metres to work with, to go blind from dummy half, to give it on to that man. He's an incredible talent, Carney. The interchange or the interplay between him and Shenton, brilliant. They're absolutely on fire, Castleford.
They are at the start of this year. And Justin Carney, well, let's hope that he maybe thinks he will stay in the Super League with the Tigers.
I suppose a coach can encourage his players to do certain things in attack, but one thing he can't really give a team is vision. And 2 of the tries we've seen tonight have been classical vision. Players recognising that they play the ball. Hey, in that split second, there's an opportunity here. There's a space that we can exploit. Demanding the ball, receiving the ball here, and then knowing to time the pass and support. The support plays great here. Castleford, after the disappointment last week of losing to Salford, I said it in the first half, on tonight's evidence, and you might say they're playing a team at the bottom of the table, they look like a top 4 team.
Yes, they do. Darryl Powell, Danny Orr, coaching team, well pleased with what they're seeing. I mean, they're trying to build something new here in Barnet, and the problem they've got, Steve-O, apart from everything else, is that the people will come and watch if they're watching a winning side. And at the moment, London Broncos are shipping points in all over the place. And you can't persuade people to come out on a Thursday, Friday or Saturday afternoon. And that's the job that poor old Tony Ray has got. You know, to try and get a winning side out on the park, to encourage the public of Barnet to come out and support this team.
You're right, Eddie.
Here's Shenton again. Shenton again, gets it inside to Luke Dawn, and we have another different name on the try-scoring sheet in the former London Bronco and Harlequin, Luke Dawn. 10th year in Super League. He was around in 2005 for London. 4 tries before tonight, that's try number 5. 4 was his tally for London last year. 134 tries in all now for 4 clubs. Salford, Harlequins, London and Castleford.
Simple but effective. The offload straight out of Shenton, who's having the time of his life this season. Back on the inside, Dawn, the former London Bronco, he'd have enjoyed that.
Well, Andy Lynch attracts 3 players with his offload, and you say what they need to attract players to London. Well, I tell you what, you put some of these Castleford players in a London shirt and they would turn out in numbers. Look at just the confidence that they are playing with. The offload from Lynch sets it up and Luke Dawn scores the try.
So Luke Dawn gets the latest Castleford try. This impressive form that they're showing at the start of this year, it stretches back to the end of last season. Prior to tonight, as another 2 points is added to the scoreline, prior to tonight they'd won 8 from 10 since last August. And this is Darryl Powell's 20th game in charge, and you can say now he's won 12 of the 20, in which he has pinned up the Castleford team sheet on the dressing room door. They're having a good night, aren't they? I tell you what, couple there stripped to the waist. It's not that sort of night down here. It's a little chilly. This is out on the full. This is out on the full. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's going from bad to worse.
It is. We keep talking about the basics. If you can't do that, then you're always in trouble.
They did it at Leeds last week in the very first kick of the match. And Josh Drinkwater has done it tonight in the 56th minute.
It certainly doesn't help, but you've got to still give a lot of credit to this Castleford side. They're playing as a unit, a team, with confidence, and so much confidence. Andy Lynch's offload, outstanding.
Here's another. Shenton cuts through them like a knife through butter. 101 tries now for Castleford. Castleford are running riot, and I'm sorry, but this could get very embarrassing.
Well, it just seems to be take your pick. Whether it be Sneed or whether it be Finn or Ellis, you can see that the London players, they're dejected. They're not talking to each other behind the sticks. How are they going to put it right? Because you look up and you see what's coming at you. You need to defend. This is straight from the kickoff. They kick the ball straight out on the full, straight away. They are under pressure. And you can see the ball from Sneed to Shenton, who just gets outside of his man, cuts a very good line, comes back against the grain, and you can see there's too many London Broncos players ball watching. They weren't looking at that man, Michael Shenton.
Second try of the night for Michael Shenton, the Castleford captain, and he had England career that ended 3 years ago. Just a little bit of industrial language you might have heard there from the Castleford player. Our apologies about that. Sure that Michael would be the first to apologise as well. And Ellis adds the extras. 48-0.
Well, there's a great success story here about the Castleford side, and it relates to the coach, in my opinion. You know, Darryl Powell, a year ago, was coaching a team in the division below this. In fact, about this time of the year, they lost away at York. I guess a moment he wouldn't want to remember. He's had 10 years outside of Super League after coaching at Leeds, then dropped into coaching in rugby union, and obviously, of course, his time at Featherstone. But he's come back, I think, wiser, smarter, and obviously implementing tactics and a personality that's proving successful at the Castleford club.
Well, they've scored 3 tries in 4 minutes in this second half, Castleford. And I'm afraid for those 4 minutes, Devo, it was almost like an unopposed training session.
Yeah, there was no one coming out of the line to try to put any pressure at all. It was quite a simple angle run from Michael Shenton. It was, well, virtually barely got a fingertip to him. They're in a huge hole, I'm afraid, of the Broncos.
What do they do, Steve-O, to turn this round? What can they possibly do? You're a pal of David Hughes, the owner of the London Broncos. I mean, how is he feeling at the moment?
Sick, I would imagine. He loves the game of rugby league, and that's the reason why he still tries to get it going in the south, in this London area. It's not easy for him, but you've also got to take into account, Eddie, that, you know, it looked for one moment that they were going to be the end of the club, so therefore they've only been able, what, 6 or 7 weeks to try to assemble a squad, and by that time most of the best players available have already been picked up.
So things can only get better would be the song that David sings in the shower every morning, would it?
I think it has to be. He has the faith.
I think realistically, Mike, if they are to be relegated, then I suppose they'd have to start to build again. And, you know, it would, Eddie, give them another opportunity to start. There are lots of players in the south of England. In fact, look at Dan Sargis and Tony Clubb, gone to Wigan. Other players who've gone to Castleford. They have had players who've left Loomis at Scarsbrook, if I can get that name out properly. Went to St Helens and is a strong player. There is a lot of talent down here who've just not got it connected to the top professional side in this area at present.
Well, it's always going to be a problem, isn't it, in regards to that? And don't forget, tomorrow night, St Helens versus Leeds.
We won't see Louis, LMS, because he's suspended at the moment in that match, unfortunately, Saints and Leeds. But it should be a cracking match between the two sides, top and second, at the beginning of this 7th round in the Super League. By the way, you're talking about all the players that are playing the game in the south of England. Further evidence today of the growing and continuing interest for rugby league down here. Nearly 200 primary school children have been playing the game today, an event at London Scholars' New River Stadium. I'll come back to that in a moment, because here's Michael Shenton threatening the line once again. Here comes the last tackle. And that was Mariano, and it was plucked out of the air by Mark Sneed. A little left-footed kick that's gathered in by Makani. He's dumped back over the goal line, so it'll be a goal line dropout coming up. Just going back to that event at the Scholars' New River Stadium, a rugby league tag tournament was part of the Haringey Schools Games. 20 teams taking part, refereed by Scholars players and coaches. And listen to this, teams from Tottenham, Wood Green, Muswell Hill and Hornsey, among others, taking part, and it's hoped that all the youngsters will take up an invitation to attend the Scholars' next home game, which is against the South Wales Scorpions on April the 13th. So some great work being done in this particular part of the world.
There certainly has, Eddie, but, you know, you think about the fact that why can't they keep hold of the players? Well, it is difficult. A lot of people, especially from Australians, they think perhaps they come to London, but they won't come to a side that's, right, been at the bottom of the table. It's very difficult to entice anybody. it's been difficult to entice anybody from the north of England to come down here.
Yes, it has. You made the trip, though, didn't you? You've done both ways, from up north and from Australia as well.
Well, I hope to think that these players aren't as bad as what I would be.
No, it can be done. Ellis dabbed to the in-goal area, touchdown behind his own line by Solomona. Another goal line dropout. The pressure is continuous.
We've just seen in the last couple of minutes a great example of what I've said about the variety, the utility that they have in the number of kickers they've got. We saw Mark Sneed kick one, that got them a goal line dropout. Now we've seen Jamie Ellis. Not many sides have players who can kick it soft and accurately like that. He's a great example of one who has, and you'd expect here now, if Castleford are really on the game here, there's a try coming in these next 6 plays.
That's what you call patience, in my opinion. When it's not you must score in that set of 6. You just keep building the pressure, keep turning the screw, and Jamie Ellis knew exactly what he was doing, and they get the ball back, good field position, and can they come up with a try in this set of 6?
And what you're talking about, fellas, all these names that Darryl Powell keeps throwing in, there's a knock-on, there is a mistake by Dan Fleming. Talking about all these names that are coming in, it's a tribute to the squad that Darryl Powell has assembled, actually, because everyone thought, well, maybe they've not got the depth to maintain a top 8 push and a top 4 push. Boy, he's turning the players over all the time. There's the likes of Richard Owen out of the side at the moment, people like this.
And you've got to also take into account that Darryl Powell, he really has recruited very craftily indeed. It's not a case of I can just get 15 players out there. He knows he's got a little bit of depth. How many times have we said that someone will pick up the trophies every season will be the side that has got plenty of depth, so that when you've got injuries, you can replace them?
You know, Eddie, there's a lot of people watching this game who do very difficult jobs. They've got hard tasks at work, but I don't think there's many jobs harder than the next 15 minutes for some of these London players. They're already in pain. They risk being embarrassed here. Well, look at that. They're still getting smashed in the tackles by the Castleford defenders.
Yes, they are. It must be tough to maintain your enthusiasm with a 48-0 scoreline stacking up against you, and the prospect of a lot more to come. Here is Fleming again. This time he hangs on to the ball.
Well, we've seen in the past, haven't we, that, you know, maybe it could help the London team to get relegated, Eddie, so that they can regroup, restart. We've already seen it with the likes of Salford, Featherstone, Castleford, and I mean Widnes. They've done it.
Shenton's looking for the hat-trick. Oh, it is going to be a try for Carney, his second. That was a right mix-up in defence. I think they tried to kick the ball dead and they just almost air-shot it in defence. And Carney comes up with an easy try. The ball just sat up for him. It was there, it was inviting, and he didn't turn the invitation down. He didn't send it back on the RSVP.
You see the force pass there by Clark. They couldn't do anything about it. Neat little kick through. Solomona really should have put his body on the line, but they are absolutely out on their feet at the home side. No confidence, no direction. That was very, very poor. Solomona had the opportunity to throw his body onto that line. Not the same for Castleford, though. They had the numbers. This was no fluke. Justin Carney, he made himself available just in case he got the opportunity. The harder you work, sometimes more the chances come your way. What a night for this fella.
Yes, he's come back into the side and he's been faultless with the kick. This is a tester for him. We normally hex kickers when we say this, but the harsh reality for London tonight, they've now conceded 50 points for the 3rd game in a row. What a kick. No pressure to kick the goal at all in terms of the scoreboard, just for his own personal and professional satisfaction. And Jamie Ellis came up with the goods. That's 9 out of 9 for him. 54-0 to the Castleford Tigers.
Well, Tony Ray, when he addresses his players at the end of the game, will be saying to them, you can't defend on your heels. You've got to make sure you're aware of what's going on. Defend on your toes. go forward, put pressure, and again, Marks need too much time to get that kick away. Another intelligent kick from the lad who started the game on the bench. Very intelligent player.
Well, if we adopted the Rod Stud mantra at 54-0, we would now declare and pack up for the night and give Castleford the points. But this is a tough sport, and it will continue to the 80th minute. Let's go down to Graham Beecroft. Some injury news, I believe.
Well, not injury news, actually, Eddie, but talking about Jamie Ellis, because he's got a 100% record so far. I know he's had plenty from in front of the post, but I was watching him practicing before the start of the game. He could not get one between the sticks for love nor money. He was sending them wide into the car park and everywhere. But when the crunch comes to the crunch, he stuck everyone right down the middle, Eddie.
Yes, he has. He's kicked magnificently, hasn't he? It's amazing if he did that. Amazing that Darryl Powell gave him the job, but he did.
Yeah, but once again, did you see that chase from the Tigers? Boy, they're super fit. They're working hard for each other.
Will they be carried away by this, Castleford, do you think, 54-0? Is it a result that you can be carried away with because of the... and I'm going to use this phrase, and maybe I shouldn't, but the standard of the opposition?
I think what you've got to take into account is that Darryl Powell will look and say, the kick and chase, superb. Your defence, especially around the play the ball area, outstanding. And the ability to create for all different players, not just one or two, and that will be positive, and that is a negative.
Nothing is going right for Castleford, for London Broncos tonight.
I think this is a professional performance as we see a mistake. Looking to offload the ball, Griffin. Scott Moore wasn't aware that his teammate was going to get this ball away. A professional performance, because when you come down and you play against London, you play teams at the bottom end of the table who quite clearly have got no confidence. You've got to focus on what you do. You can't change the way that you play. And the reason why Castleford are third is because they play with the confidence, they throw the ball around, they work very hard for each other. Whether they've got the ball or they haven't, as Channing makes a mistake, and they've just got to rev up here now and help the teammate out.
Well, this will be interesting now to see just how determinedly Castleford defend their line and how doggedly London approach this set of six. This is Scott Moore.
Well, Darryl Powell will get the message out to the Tigers. You do not let that try in.
McMeekin. That's the third tackle. They're 5 metres away. Liam Finn might have been penalised there for another shove. And this is Foster. Alex Foster, the man on loan from Leeds. Remember, Thomas Minns pulled out of tonight's match at the last minute, injured. Chances here. And a little run coming in from James Woodall Hall, who didn't know he was playing until late this afternoon. Held up over the line. All fresh-faced, aren't they, the majority of this London Broncos side.
Inexperienced, not enough time together.
Drinkwater, neat little kick. Dawn just nearly had to flap the ball away. He was hunting, was Foster.
Yep, and he's disappointed with himself, he looked on. He knew he should have taken that, but he was...
Difficult bounce for him, to be fair.
Yeah, he got there, got the fingertips too.
Right, 10 minutes to go. London's task is to get over this line. Castleford's task is to keep them on the other side of the whitewash.
Well, they've had a high completion rate, London Broncos, 81%, and normally when you have a completion rate like that, you come up with tries. They've got to ask more questions, in my opinion. They're not doing that. There's not enough urgency in their attack.
Well, to be fair, Tez, they're being battered. They really have been battered by this relentless Castleford defence. They're talking to each other, the visitors. They know what's happening. Remember when their captain, Michael Shenton, came back after scoring the try. He said, we need more points. We've got to keep going.
That looked a touch forward, that pass, but referee lets it go.
Well, I must say he's tried his hardest as this centre, Mike McMeekin.
Coming down the left-hand side with Drinkwater, gets the ball away. And that's Ben Farrer. He didn't look too happy with that. He played the ball to Moore. He's dropped it, went backwards. Is it 6 to go? No, it's a penalty, actually. It's a penalty, actually, for stealing the ball in the tackle 2-on-1 by Castleford. So there's a bit of pressure here on the Tigers line. Now then, can London get something from this?
Well, it's been an eternity since they've had so much possession and field position.
Driving again from McMeekin.
Now then, can they utilise the dummy runner to create a gap in this strong Castleford defence?
No, they can't. Knock on. Was there one each way? I think there was. And Castleford, as Tony Ray turns his back on what he's seeing and shakes his head. Applause all round for the Castleford Tigers defenders from fellow defenders.
Well, the short ball really wasn't on. There are two players. They had him sorted out, Ellis and Shenton. It's been a nightmare for the Broncos tonight, I'm afraid. Been a good night for this fella.
Yes, it has. Captain Michael Shenton, 11 times an England international, as I said earlier, the most recent of those 3 years ago.
You know, if Castleford finished where they do, Eddie, would it be the greatest year-on-year improvement? I mean, from a side to go from where they went last season, I'm hoping they'll make the top 8, because the way they've entertained us tonight is literally fantastic, isn't it? The rugby they've played, the commitment, the skill, the variety.
Yes, you're right. People will say, oh, come on, it's only the London Broncos, but you only play what's in front of you.
Yeah, you're right. But are you giving up your mighty Salford?
No. But what I am thinking that the real test for Castleford will come. I think the next Super League game is against St Helens, currently the top of Super League. Now, we'll maybe know at the end of that game just how good the Castleford Tigers are. The first few games of a season, you can always say, oh, it's early, maybe they've just got off to a good start. But when they play against St Helens, April the 11th, we'll then know just how good the Tigers are in 2014.
Well, they've already beaten the double winners early, haven't they, Wigan? So Saints would be the big tester. Solomon, I think, is taken out in the air here by Carney.
Yeah, certainly made contact.
This has got to be one of the quietest nights that Stuart Cummings has had with us.
It has, but I've actually been enjoying listening to Ben Thaler refereeing tonight.
Oh, I thought you were going to say enjoying listening to us. Thanks very much, Stuart.
Well, that as well, of course, that goes without saying. But his communication has been really, really good. It's very difficult at times to referee teams that are well beaten on the night, and his work with London Broncos really well and kept the stoppages to a minimum.
Has he let a lot go? Has he been quite lenient, or has he refereed to the letter of the law?
Look, I think, like in every game, there's a couple of things technically that you could do slightly differently, but, you know, the game hasn't needed that tonight, and I think he's let them play as much as he possibly can.
Well, I hate to do it again, but I do agree, mainly due to the fact that, have you noticed the referee? No. And when you don't notice the referee, he's had a good game.
How can you not notice a referee in shocking pink?
It's the colour of the year.
Go have a lie down and take a tablet.
I don't know whether that comment was aimed at you, Stuart, or at me, but anyway.
You know it was aimed at you.
There's a mistake in defence by Justin Carney. He gets a pat on the back.
Just didn't take it. Sneed was there to the rescue.
James Greenwood, wasn't it, who putting him under pressure? Young prop from Oldham originally with Saddleworth. Up there chasing in the last 5 minutes. They've got one more chance here, haven't they? Talking of Saddleworth, his former club. A very good feature coming up soon, Eddie, on Super League Superstars. I know Barry McDermott's interviewed Terry Flanagan, who many people remember playing for Oldham in Great Britain. Once a coach at Huddersfield, and a very strong supporter of the Saddleworth club where he started his playing of the 13-man code.
Yeah, great bloke, Terry. A predecessor of my learned friend here on the right-hand side, and of course similar sartorial elegance.
And now obviously helping Rugby League again with the Rugby League Cares, the charitable arm of our sport.
Yes, doing a great job.
Certainly does. Puts a lot of time and effort, a lot of hard work into doing that for the less fortunate people in our game.
Drinkwater gets the ball away, and here once again is Solomona. Solomona standing on one leg, goes down. Finn was the man who finished him off. Little scamper to the line.
Good work by Luke Dawn there.
Drinkwater again. Late rally from the Broncos here. Foster once more.
Well, they're not giving in either, these Castleford Tigers. They are defending resolutely.
That was played at. It's going to be 6 to go here for the Broncos. It was played at. The little kick through by Scott Moore. And he dropped on the ricochet. So here we go. Another 6 for Castleford to defend. Now, maybe we'll find out a little about this Castleford side in the this next set of 6 here. Next 4 tackles might tell us absolute volumes. And that's great defence again. He's not got the ball down. Referee had a very close look. Greenwood pointing to go one way. They get over for the try with McMeekin. And the London crowd has something to shout about at last. Mike McMeekin. He was going to start on the bench today, but then Thomas Minns reported the back injury, so McMeekin was moved off the bench into the centres. Woodburn Hall came on to the interchange bench, and McMeekin, well, he's been, I think, their best player.
Yep, he fully deserved that. And for once, they did something different. It came on the angle and came through and spun away from the would-be defence.
Well, that was the 3rd set of 6 on Castleford's line, and it was good play from McMeekin, because what he did, he looked up and played what was in front of him, and he saw Liam Finn defending on the line. He's picked him straight out, and the big man has crashed over for London's try.
Sadly, too little and too late, but McMeekin has played well, and Drinkwater here with the opportunity to add the 2 more points. Which he manages. So 54-6.
And it just shows you what any team is capable if they get in a good position and apply the pressure.
There is in the background shouting and barking Kieran Dixon. I don't know whether he's looking to the clock to check how long he's got. No, he's looking to see if he's in the screen himself. Kieran Dixon, they're missing him, as we've said. Mike McMeekin with the try. 54-6, exactly the same score as London went down at Leeds last Friday night.
It's tough being a London player at the minute, but at the end of the day, you get paid to be a professional player. There'll be a lot of these players, some of the younger players who go back to the clubs that own the registration. They'll learn from these experiences, and so will some of the older players, the likes of Scott Moore, because the game is about attitude, it's about skill as well. You've got to have desire, you've got to have passion. But there's many players that play the game who'll concede 54 points, and it does make you learn from it does make you learn from your mistakes. It's easy. I've caught it off you there, Phil.
Put the teeth back, Terry.
I know. Sorry.
Into the last minute, we're about to go. And here come London with Solomona.
Nice little step, but again, this Castleford Tiger defence coming back. They're really working hard. Look at that. You know, they're leading 54-6. We're into the final minute, and they are still working their socks off. Nice little chip over. Dawn's lifted. Well, it just went away from Dawn's right hand.
Oliver Holmes. It just shows you what a try does to a side, because London are flying in now.
Yeah, but it's all about positional sense, Eddie, and they've just had no chance deep in the Castleford Tigers' red zone.
Carney again, and he's on a hat-trick, of course, isn't he, Justin Carney? We couldn't get through then. Possibly the last little movement of this second half of this match, because there's the full-time siren. McCarney will take the tackle from Holmes, and also in there very quickly was Michael Channing, shaking hands. Job well done. London fan in front of him. Darryl Powell shaking his head. The Tigers fans will go home happy. It'll be a good journey home for them and the team tonight. For London, well, They have to come back again, and they have to take on the Catalan Dragons in Perpignan next weekend in the Challenge Cup. They had hoped, Tony Ray had hoped, I'm sure, to go with their duck well and truly broken, but it wasn't to be. 24-0 at half-time, 54-6 at full-time. Carney with a couple, Shenton with a couple, Dawn, Hubie, Finn, Holmes and Channing, the try scorers. A good night at the office for the Castleford Tigers, and a good night also for Michael Shenton, their skipper. He is the man of the match. He's talking to Graham.
Yes, he is indeed. Congratulations, Michael. Tries 100 and 101 for Castleford. How does that feel?
Oh, I didn't realise. No, it's just a nice start, but it's more pleasing with the performance after the last couple of games. We've gone away from what's been working for us, even though we've sneaked through results. So it's nice to get back into that mentality, what we showed tonight.
In many ways, it was a very mechanical, a very well-organised performance. Did you feel that? Was that the message at half-time to carry that on?
Definitely, that's what we aim for in the game, just to get back to a bit of structure and game plan that really suits us as a team, of making teams come out of their end of the field. So, no, I'm glad that came across, and now it's pleasing to have a real good performance and some real strong performance from our boys as well.
I know that training was limited in terms of you had that quick turnaround because you played last Sunday, but you must have been pleased, on the other hand, to get on the pitch again quickly to put that right.
It was great, yeah, to be honest. Just the way we played wasn't pleasing at all, so to get back this quick and get a trip away really with the boys was pretty good timing on our part really, to come down here, spend a bit of time with the team, and it was yeah, happy with the performance.
So back up at the top of the table again, what are your realistic hopes for the season? Do you feel that the club are going to be genuine title contenders, or is it each game at a time?
Yeah, blocks of games at a time for us, short-term goals, and then we'll see where we're at the end of the season.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Here's Jamie Ellis. Congratulations, Jamie, 100% kicking record. I know you had more than a couple in front of the post, but still nice to put them right between the posts.
Yeah, it's always good to put them over, but I think I missed everyone before the game when I was practicing light, so it's good to get them, and it's good that we're getting under the stick, so it's easier for me.
Actually, I was watching you there, and I commented on that before the game, because you could hardly kick one for love nor money.
No, I kept missing them, didn't I? I kept pushing them to the right, but you know, luckily it was under the sticks most of them, so it was easy to put more.
What about the overall performance? What's the attitude? What's the feeling like in the dressing room at the moment with the run that you're on?
Yeah, it's a great run, you know. I think there's a lot of competition in our side now, so everyone's on the toes, and they know they have to play well week in, week out. So yeah, we've not been too good over the last couple of games, so we're just glad to get that result today.
Rangi Chase, of course, was the big star. Everybody spoke about him last season. Now that he's gone, do you feel that overall you're perhaps a stronger side?
I don't know, more or less same really. Rangi's a world-class player, you know, he was great to have here. But, you know, it gives frees like me up myself, like Finney, so yeah, I'm glad to be playing.
Well played, thanks very much for joining us. Let's look at the other side, and joining us now is Matt Cook. Matt, congratulations, it was a real hard effort by you, but at the end of the day they had too much for you.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to Castleford, you know, they're in form at the minute, and they put to bed a loss last weekend against Salford, and to come out on a short turnaround like that, they just blew us off the park there, and so fair play to them. But, you know, we're going to have a good look at ourselves now. We've got a long week ahead before going out to France in the Challenge Cup, and yeah, it's going to be hard. It's tough to take some positives out of that game, but, you know, we're going to have to find some and have a good hard look at ourselves and train real hard.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, at half-time in the dressing room, I think there was a message just to try and work your way back into the game, but it didn't happen, and you went behind two early tries in the second half.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think the big one to look at is the ruck speed. You know, we didn't slow them down enough at all, and, you know, it burnt us in the end, and they got us out wide on the edges. So, like I say, it's hard to think about it now. We'll have to go and look at the video and see what's going wrong, but we just got to pick ourselves up and keep going week on, week in.
Thanks very much for joining us. Thank you.
Yeah, it's always difficult for the skipper of the losing side to come to the microphone, and Matt Cook always very honest. Michael Shenton, captain of the winning side, taking the handshakes and the congratulations of the Castleford supporters who have made the long trip down here to be with them tonight. And well, just one final point about Jamie Ellis. He just fell one goal short of his own personal record of 10 successful kicks in a match. He kicked 9 in a comprehensive Castleford victory. Super League Thursday, and this now is Super League Extra Time as we look back to events here at the Hive in Barnet, the home of the London Broncos, who have been outplayed again. They have lost by 54 points to 6 to the Castleford Tigers, and the list of try scorers seemed almost endless in the match. 2 for Shenton, 2 for Carney, Channing, Holmes, Finn, Hubie and Dawn. Channing and Dawn, of course, former London players. Ellis, 9 from 9, 1 short of his own personal goal-kicking record of 10 for the Tigers. London's points coming from McMeekin with the try and Drinkwater with the successful conversion. OK, Brian and John at the touchscreen, looking now at this match.
Yes, thanks very much, Eddie. 24-0 at half-time to Castleford Tigers. 6 minutes into the second half, Craig Hubie crashes over, extends it to 30-0. 5 minutes after that, we saw a great try from Justin Carney, but some abject defence from the London Broncos, John.
Yeah, it was, and this is the sort of thing we were talking about before the start of the game. A bunch of inexperienced players, particularly on that right flank. But it was one of the more experienced players in that team, actually, who really let the side down a little bit, I think, there. We'll have a look at the clip now and see how it unfolds, because McMeekin sticks a kick through. Luke Dawn has got some fancy footwork here, which gets him past the first tackler. But I've got to ask myself, with the players loaded up on the short side, Jamie O'Callaghan's seen it, he should be screaming at the guys on the inside to give him some help, to shuffle over to the short side. He's left high and dry, but he doesn't help his own cause, and Castleford need no second invitation to go through, and really the procession, which was the try that followed. London have got an awful lot of work to do, and they've got games coming week on week on week, thick and fast now for the next few months. There is an awful lot. I feel for the coaching staff there, because they are dealing, and it's worth referencing that statistic we showed you before the game. Average age of this group, 22 years of age, 781 career appearances between them. Against their opponents tonight, 25 years of age, but 2,357 appearances.
Age and experience aside, there's an absolute inability to defend shown on display today by the London Broncos. Contrast that with the Castleford Tigers, extremely good in attack. We saw that in Justin Carney's try. Their defence as well, John, throughout this game was, I would say, bordering on excellent.
Yeah, and this is why I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're shoo-ins for the playoffs now, and they should be aiming high. This is for Cas fans to watch, because all these clips were between the 40th and 60th minute, during which time they put on 24 points and conceded nil. We've just seen the last of those 3 clips. There were 3 clips, textbook defence from the Tigers, and as I said, put on 24 points, conceded nil in a quarter of the game there. Superb.
More tries came. Luke Dorn, Michael Shenton getting his 101st for the Castleford Tigers, and then at the very end the London Broncos struck back. It perhaps is a little bit of credit to them that they scored a try, and they certainly didn't stop trying. It's perhaps not good enough.
You're reluctant to give credit.
I don't think they're Super League standards. I don't think it's good enough.
And I agree with you in the main, the caveat being these guys have been thrown together at such short notice, and you know, I don't doubt they're trying. It's just you don't get the experience, do you, without playing the games. So here we go. This is the clip. This is Mike McMeekin's try to finish us off, and really a great run in the build-up from. A great run in the middle from Foster. There he is. That's his name. I was searching for his name. Alex Foster, on loan from Leeds, does really well. And then Mike McMeekin, he spots a load of shenanigans going on between Finn and Channing. Channing trying his best to get him upfield. Liam Finn's not looked at in front of him until now, at which point it's too late. Mike McMeekin, take the credit. But as we said, it's small credit, because that for me, and I agree with you, not a Super League standard performance.
Yeah, Jamie Ellis very good with the boot. I'm sure he's delighted. His coach, Darryl Powell, who's speaking to Graham Beecroft.
Well, Darryl, congratulations. It was a really good, well-organised performance, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, these short turnarounds are pretty tough on players, but I think the boys were happy to do that after last week. We weren't really happy with our performance, and I thought we started a little bit scratchy tonight with the ball, particularly when we got into good field position. But you know, I thought our yardage stuff was excellent, and I thought we defended really well. Obviously, a bit disappointed to concede 6 at the end there, but you know, London kept going, they kept coming at us, and they got a little bit of joy in the second half. But we had a purple patch there in the second half where we were excellent, I thought. So really pleasing effort from the boys.
Yes, because the message from you at half-time was, let's keep the discipline going, and they did that. It would have been easy, I suppose, against a team which, let's be honest, are the weakest team in the league, or so it seems, to lose that discipline, and people go for the glory ball and the glory try.
Yeah, I thought there was a couple of little selfish bits in the first half when we were up near the try line, and we talked about that at half-time and about staying focused and disciplined, and I thought we looked like we were going to try and score every time we got the ball, and sometimes, you know, your boys play what they see in front of them, and we've got a group of outstanding players, so at times I'm happy to do that, but those are the games where you want to try and stay focused, and I thought we started to get some repeat sets, which showed a lot of discipline in what we were doing, so I was really pleased with the overall effort and the attitude of the boys. You know, it's unquestionable this year, and it's been outstanding again tonight.
And a good milestone for Michael Shenton, his 101st try in this game for Castleford.
Yeah, he's a great player, isn't he? And he's back to his best. I think he's been playing some special rugby league this season, and he's growing as a captain. The boys really respond to the things that he says and does, and yeah, it's pleasing that he's got that sort of milestone under his belt.
Darryl, thanks very much indeed for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, he's ebullient, he's enthusiastic, Darryl Powell, and why wouldn't he be? Because look where his team are in the table tonight. Level on points with Saints at the top. OK, they have played the game more. Saints and Leeds will play tomorrow, so it might not last for longer than 24 hours, the fact that they're second in the table, but there they are. And at the other end, well, you can see the major problems that London have got. They have yet to win, 0 points from 7, and what's more, look at the points for and against. They have conceded an astonishing 245 points more than they have scored in their 7 games so far this season. Well, Darryl Powell was full of it. I wonder what Tony Ray is like this week. Here he is with Graham.
Well, Tony, it's obviously a very difficult situation that you're in. What was your assessment of this evening's performance?
Well, it was a difficult night, you know. It was had a good preparation. We thought we'd had a good week going into it. We just, you know, defensively we were just really disappointed with ourselves. Probably actually all over the game. I thought, you know, kicking game was poor again. The game control was poor, and you know, we took ourselves out of the contest off the back of that.
It's been a sort of perfect storm that's hit the club, really. You had difficulties, of course, during the close season. A lot of players left. I mean, is there a way out of this that you can see at the moment?
Yeah, it definitely is, but, you know, it's gripping us for sure at the moment. It's all, you know, you guys are talking about. It's all we get shoved down our throat. We're actually starting to hear it inside of the sheds now that people are talking about. That's where we are. So we're starting to believe it all. You guys are thinking of it, you know, and I think it's gripped our minds a bit, you know. We really struggled to get into that contest 2 weeks in a row. Look, I understand it, you know, our physical preparation and, you know, everything, you know, in terms of off seasons and all that. You know, that's all understandable, but we've got to move on from it.
Tony, thanks for talking to us. Thank you. Thanks. Cheers, Tony.
Well, difficult job. Difficult job, A, to face the cameras, B, to take the questions, and C, to take that performance that his team have put up for him tonight. I mean, Tony is the most honest of coaches. He's the nicest of blokes. You could see on that, even he is getting fed up.
It's hurting. Like, Tony, when the players go...
His pride will be hurt.
Of course. When I always used to say about players, when I used to play and used to go onto the pitch, it wasn't anything to do with the coach. It was how I performed. You've got to make sure that you're competitive. You've got to make sure that you do the right things. And he's obviously going to be hurting. He's going to be disappointing. Where do they go from there? Well, if I was a London player sat in the changing rooms, I couldn't keep turning up to games thinking, right, is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? Or do I have to do it? I'd take it upon myself to do something that would inspire the teammate. You can't be a one-man band, though, Terry. No. I would take it upon myself as a professional paid rugby league player. I would take it upon myself to do something to inspire the man next to me, who then needs to do exactly the same to the man next to him, and that's what builds a team. If I'm going to come up with a decent tackle, a decent run, I need to start doing the little things for my teammates.
Well, it's great sentiment, Steve-O, but easier said than done, because there were times out there tonight that they were completely outclassed, completely outplayed, and I think we made reference to it in the commentary. It looked once or twice that Castleford were involved in just an unopposed training session. I mean, it's deep-rooted, this problem, isn't it? It really is for London. So sad to say it, but it is.
Yeah, when you get to a point where it's men against boys, and that's what it was. We mentioned before the kick-off that you've got to get your basics right. You've got to get your defence right. I mentioned again that they've got to have a good kicking game. You've got to apply pressure. You will never, ever get into a game. Never in 100 years if you don't apply the pressure. Your tactics were all wrong. Their defence, there was no one talking to each other. The leadership was very, very strong in the opening 10 minutes. And then after that, it just fell away because the basics, losing the ball on the first tackle, just poor kicking game. Tony Ray made it quite clear. Defence was shocking. The kicking game was even worse, and you can't expect to do that. But I think I'm being a little bit, well, I think we've got to give a little bit of credit to this Castleford outfit.
I was going to say exactly that. We're down on London, and I suppose, understandably, we've seen them lose 54-6 2 weeks in a row now. You've got to give credit to Castleford. That was a hugely professional performance.
It was. You've got to look at the fact that that Darryl Powell has brought together a very, very strong team. But they were leading 54 points to 0, and they had a kick and chase there where there were 11 players, not just straggling down, 11 in a straight line. Now, when you get that, it's easy for someone to say, oh, well, we'll take it easy because we may have a harder game the following week. They are playing for each other every single time. All those players were talking to each other. They were saying, come in here, fill in there. How many times did we see when the London side had their defence? John Wells picked it out a couple of occasions on there. One man on the blind side when Castleford had 3 there. 3-on-1. I mean, no wonder Shenton had a great game.
Well, he did have a great game. Castleford played really well. It's difficult to not over-egg the pudding for Castleford when you see what they were up against tonight, but they did play well.
But at the end of the day, Castleford have come down to play at London. They can't be focused on what London are going to put out in the players that's going to be there. They've got to make sure that you turn up with the right attitude, in the right frame of mind. Whoever's wearing a London Broncos shirt, you have got to perform to the best of your ability, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, Castleford second in the table. We'll see whether they stay